Alright, E3 2018. Actually, we should introduce ourselves, I guess.
I was just making sure we're talking about 2018.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about 2016 earlier, I got real nervous.
Because it was better. Hi, I'm Chris.
Hi, I'm Anton.
I'm Deion.
I'm Jordan.
Goddamn. John.
Great job. Off to a good start.
Yeah,
So,
wow, killing it.
E3 2018, I have pretty much a list of everything that was announced by conference. So we'll start by just going through each conference, talking about the conference itself, how that was, how their presentation was, and then going into the games as well. And first one this year, thankfully, we started with probably the most boring one to kick off E3 is EA, Electronic Arts. They start off, well, they have Andrea Renee from What's Good Games and Kinda Funny, which is nice having her as a host.
The saving grace, I would say, of that whole thing.
Yeah. It was unfortunate that she had to be a part of some of the cringe, but none of it really her fault.
Yeah. And I don't think it hurt her credibility at the end of the day by any means, but
No. Anybody that follows her knows that.
Yeah. Okay. It's EA.
It's EA. You can't really turn them down.
Sadly.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
So they start off with some Battlefield, more destructible environments, battle royale mode, etc., etc. More onto Battlefield. What is this, 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5. The prequels to Battlefield 1942 by what,
1941.
That's
almost
all,
2000.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have no idea. Obviously, this is not my wheelhouse. Battlefield.
Yeah.
Are anyone excited about that?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, the destructive environments, everything like that. The Battle Royale, everybody's just having Battle Royale because it's, the trendy thing right now. Least excited about that, but the actual Battlefield 5. Battlefield 1's been awesome playing with you guys. As long as there's flying in it, I'm good.
Yeah, they're making a lot of changes to it, right? So the biggest thing is, or at least what I like, is just how destructive it's going to be. So, Battlefield 1 is already a beautiful game, right? So adding that destructibility, that type of stuff to it, I think it's going to be really good. It kind of reminds me back to Bad Company 2 and those type of games where the whole thing was just the map would just be completely destructed or done at the end of the day. So
I think what's interesting is that when we had the original announcement for the game, a couple of weeks ago, basically, or 3 weeks ago before E3, was that we had the whole cringe sort of introduction to the game with Trevor Noah, which was really kind of put the game at a really bad standing, kind of in the views of a lot of people, because it was just super cringe. And it just didn't go enough in depth about the game. We did get the really nice announcement, obviously, about the fact that there's no season pass, no premium pass for this game, which is thank God. That took
which shouldn't draw an applause, but it does.
Sadly,
it does.
Sadly, in this day and age, it does.
Things.
Sadly, in this day and age, it does. And
but it's a good announcement.
And confirmation that there is no loot boxes too. That was another big thing. It's hey, we recognize the mess up we had with Battlefront, and we're very cautious of that. And speaking, I think from that actually kind of gets me to a really interesting point about the whole overall EA conference in general, is that we went from that, right, which was wow, we're about to jump into hopefully one of the better E3 presentations coming from EA in probably a number of years, because it was just affirming to audiences that we're listening to the community, right? We're focusing on it. But sadly, what I saw in just over the course of the show is that it's just this lack of they're not really connecting to what people are really saying and what gamers are actually asking for.
Yeah.
So it's just it felt a little tone deaf to me. I don't know what you guys felt overall.
Yeah, but it's just more reactionary. It's okay, we learned from loot boxes, we shouldn't do that. We're not going to put them in there. We're not going to do the season pass. But I guarantee you, there's going to be something that's going to make them a lot of money, and really. That's what they're there for. They're all businesses. That's what they're there for. But EA especially is more of, how can we milk it out of our players?
Right. I think they should have been more clear instead of just saying hey, we learned. They should have said sorry. Like,
yeah.
And
we messed up.
Acknowledge the mess up more.
And we kind of
had saying like, don't worry, this one doesn't have loot boxes. So they like made it a celebration instead of like, hey guys, we fucked up.
Yeah.
And I will say the creative director from Battlefront 2, when he came out, to talk about sort of the next season for that game, he basically was very much apologetic. Like, he basically recognized very forwardly, like in front of people. Actually, the guy looked like I felt bad for him because he looked like he was falling apart. Yeah. Like, I was like, dude, like that's not like beard. Like his hair was out of control. And I was just, I mean, clearly, right? Because like you're in a really bad situation PR-wise, and you have to come out in front of audiences and acknowledge that there was a massive screw up. I would have, like to your point though, I would have much rather had that come out from someone like Andrew Wilson coming to apologize about their mishaps, because he kind of played around it with some of his CEO talk, but
well, is E3 even the right platform for that, right? Like, it's supposed to be like announcements and what's coming and getting excited about the company. I think it would have been better if there was like a pre-event apology type
like
deal,
a formal
and then
open letter from
focus
EA,
on the positive during the conference.
And throughout the whole controversy with Battlefront, they did talk about that stuff, and like they kept putting out not really a press release, that's not the word I'm looking for, but just trying to communicate as much as possible.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say E3 should be the platform is because they brought it up by saying, like, by making it a big deal that their next game doesn't have loot boxes and isn't going to be like that other game. So the fact that they brought it up, they should have also just acknowledged the
I agree.
the
And they also echoed that. They also echoed that again at the end of the conference when they were talking about the whole sort of Anthem presentation, which I'm sure we'll talk a bit more in depth about. But it was the same conversation, like, hey, we want to confirm to you that this game does not contain loot boxes.
Yeah.
And it was one of the Twitter questions that actually came up from the community on stage, which I thought was kind of.
I just want to know what it doesn't include. It doesn't include loot boxes, but it's going to include something.
It'll be cosmetics.
Visuals.
Like,
and it's just cosmetic.
That seems to be the most acceptable form of.
I mean, look at Fortnite. They made
microtransactions.
1.5 billion off of just cosmetic transactions.
And Overwatch. I mean, Overwatch is huge for cosmetics and just things that don't really affect gameplay.
Exactly.
So, how much?
$0.
$0. Wow.
I've not spent a dime.
That's
how much did you spend? That's impressive.
It's none of your business.
Don't worry about it.
I'm
a professional Fortnite designer. No, I design costumes. I'm worth $1.5 billion.
One interesting thing I wanted to mention though about Battlefield before we move on is that they went with the EA Play event the week before, or I believe it was the week before, right? The EA Play event, or was it a couple of weeks? But basically, they had all the streamers and the YouTubers that are part of the EA Play program, right? Kind of make videos about the game, and I actually felt it was weird because the streamers and the content creators did a better job of covering the game than they actually did. So while I appreciated that we finally got like an actual gameplay trailer at E3 of Battlefield, it was still felt a little just because we saw more coverage from YouTubers like Jack Frags, like Westy, that actually cover the game on a regular basis, and I just thought that was an interesting turn of events this year. Rather than the message coming directly from them, they decided to pass it on to all the streamers and the content creators to pass it on to the community. So,
I mean, honestly, I would rather hear it from the people playing the game than.
I agree. Yeah,
there's gonna be maybe some bias or whatever to it, but it's not gonna be like somebody on stage getting paid lots of money to talk. And hype up a game.
Well, that's true. I think they needed to do that though, because when that trailer came out and then people were reacting differently to it being not an authentic World War II game, like they relied on their fan base and the people that have constantly put out Battlefield videos to kind of like leverage that back,
Yeah.
The whole woman on the cover though is ridiculous. Like,
I don't think anybody like
don't understand
the outcry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
I was worried for a second. I was like, I don't know where this is going. I don't feel safe.
Yes.
The backlash is what's
the backlash
ridiculous.
is ridiculous.
Okay, cool.
Absurdity to me.
So we'll go on. The next thing we saw was Andrew and Renee sitting in the audience with someone from Respawn, Vince Zampelli, talking about their next Star Wars game called Jedi Fallen Order. And so we only found out really
I can't sit next to him during this topic.
Two things is that we got a name, And also, just we know it takes place during the Dark Times, which is between
3 and 4.
Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. John, resident Star Wars expert, what's your take on this?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm going to play the shit out of it because it's a Star Wars game. Doesn't really matter.
How many costumes are you going to buy?
Don't worry about it. I am a little disappointed they continue to go with that time period, though. There's so much rest of the universe, like so much more of the universe and canon that they can explore. And since they wiped out all the expanded universe, they can create new things. But between Rogue One and now Solo, and then this is Star Wars Rebels. Well, Clone Wars doesn't. Clone Wars leading into Rebels. It's all in this time period, and I feel like they're expanding it too much. I want a Shadows of the Empire game. N64 reboot. Just do that. Bring back in Prince Shizor, bring in Dash Rendar. I would pay so much money for that and buy all the DLC. So I'm excited. I'm going to play it, but I feel like it's more of the same that we've been seeing with Star Wars overall the past few years.
It was a safe choice.
It was a safe choice for sure. And I'm sure
it just coincides to the movies and what they're focusing on from a media perspective, right? Like that's the timeline that they're trying to focus on for side stories and stuff like that.
Yep, it's going to tie in with Rebels. There's going to be Rebels cameos, I'm sure. Solo, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I don't know how you haven't seen it yet, but Solo, the special appearance in Solo at the end of the movie, I'm sure there's going to be a tie-in with that character into the game.
I'm excited, to see like what Respawn is capable of. Obviously, we know them from the Titanfall games. A lot of the core staff came from previous Call of Duty games, so they have a lot of FPS sort of paralysis. So it's interesting to see like how that's going to get translated into a game about Jedis and lightsabers. So also, I mean, the other big thing too that we got was that they actually announced that this game will come out holiday 2019, which is. It means that this game has clearly been in development probably ever since Titanfall, before even Titanfall released, would be my assumption.
So there's a glimmer of hope that I have that they were going to be doing the Bounty Hunter video game, allegedly focusing on Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That they're possibly reusing some of that story maybe or something like that.
That would be awesome.
And it's maybe not even based on the Jedi, but about the events around the Jedi falling. And it'll be more of a darker game. I'm hoping for that, but I mean, there's nothing.
How much of the core story or assets do you think could be stuff that was from the canceled Star Wars games that EA has potentially is saying, hey, we created all these assets. How can we like leverage that stuff into this new game? Because I have to believe that like that stuff. We know that like when that project was canceled and Amy Hennig left the studio. A lot of those assets had to have gone in some sort of vault or something and said, hey, we're probably going to come back to this at some point. We need to leverage this in some way.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think that could cause some controversy, though, Because, like, they canceled her game and then they're going to just, like, they're going to hard and use a bunch of stuff from it.
Well, and I think that to your point, that, like, brings up a really interesting point is, like, what is going to be the gameplay loop of this? Because we clearly are hearing these two different conflicting messages from EA where they're saying, we don't believe in single-player games, but then here's this game that's probably going to be single-player. I mean, that is one thing, obviously, we don't, purely an assumption right now, we don't know what the multiplayer equivalent of this game, what it will have, if it will purely be focused. Is this going to be, an online sort of living game constantly where there's some sort of just multiplayer aspect, the whole game is online?
If it's the Old Republic, but new, the Old Republic 2.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Take all my money. Take all my
dream. All the money.
That would be the dream. But I would want BioWare to be a part of that, I think, again.
But that falls into the extended universe thing that you were talking about before, right? Or no?
No, the Old Republic is still canon.
It is still canon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of times.
It's a mix of, okay, this got wiped out, this didn't get wiped out. Who the hell is actually a Star Wars character now?
Well, there's a bunch of time.
That's all different discussion.
There's a bunch of time between where Knights of the Old Republic and the rest of canon picks up that you could fill. Which surprises me that they don't try to fill more of that in, because that was such a popular franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could just do any general, we've got the Jedi and they're getting sent out to help a planet or something. Like, you do so much stuff with it, but whatever.
Deion, what do you think they decided to announce this with like this very just casual interview with Andrea sitting with Vince in the audience, rather than this being shown on stage, curtain release, and it's like, here's the name of the game. Like, to me, this is a really exciting announcement, and so it just felt weird to me, very disconnected, that why they would just throw it in the audience like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of that is, not to skip around, but a little bit of that was like with Bethesda as well, right? Like,
sure.
It's like, you want to let the fans know something's happening, and that there's just absolutely that there's something that's going to occur. Yeah. I don't think they have shit to show yet. I think, I think they have a lot to work through, and they're too scared to just give you some nice visual demo. But it just gives.
But not even the logo, it's like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So how far along is this game really? If they're saying holiday of 2019,
we'll probably talk later on that. But I think it's gonna be like Anthem.
I think they're going to
delay. I think so too. I think it's going to get delayed, probably 2020.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
But
we don't know much about it. But what we do know
Star Wars
Battlefront 2.
Oh.
New stuff coming to Battlefront 2. I know you guys really haven't been into Battlefront 2 in a while. Anything that they announced, like maps from the Clone Wars, new heroes, a new command post-capture mode, does any of that interest you? Will any of that bring you back to the game?
I might play it a little bit, but it's not going to be like it was released. I think we all got burned on that game. They revamped it a bunch.
Right.
It was much
so I actually refused to buy the game when it first came out. And then I actually waited until they went back and redid the entire progression system in the game. And I was having a lot of fun. I probably played a good 20, 30 hours of it, about a 2-week period. Unfortunately, I think this game just has a bad taste in people's mouth, and I think it's going to be really hard no matter what they do. Even though also the DLC for this game got completely pushed. People have been waiting almost 6 months to get to this point where we finally got the solo DLC for the movie, and I think for a lot of people that's just kind of unacceptable. Although I know a lot of fans on Reddit are super excited about what this could mean, for the game. They were all wanting Clone Wars to be in the game finally, so it'll be cool. Potentially might get back into it just to check some of it out.
Yeah.
But I think it's just sadly I don't know if there's much left there for this game at this point.
It hurts me because the game just still looks amazing.
It is,
but they just completely messed it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I did watch some IGN coverage when they were just interviewing people, and most of the consensus was just it's too late. You know what I mean? It's too late, and so
Battle of Jakku came out one of the first DLCs, and it was this is the most beautiful multiplayer map I've ever played in a game.
Yeah.
And I still hate the game.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on then.
Yeah.
Next up, so this is the kind of game that appeals to me. The EA conference, I didn't expect to see anything that I enjoyed. And while I didn't play the first one, I was still excited to see the announcement of Unravel 2. And it is co-op.
Yep.
I don't remember. Oh, this guy's the character's name is Yarny. So, and it was a shadow drop. Who doesn't love a shadow drop? Did any of us play Unravel, the first one?
I just played the demo of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was the first area or something.
From what I read of the first one, it was a bit slow, and some of the puzzles, it was pretty simple from what I remember. Platforming wasn't perfect, but those are things that I can forgive. I just enjoy how unique it was, and then incorporating the yarn into the puzzles, things like that. So I was excited to see Unravel 2. Probably if I see Unravel on maybe Steam Summer Sale or PlayStation Sale soon,
I'll pick it up there.
I'll pick up both of them eventually. But
great art style.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Game looks beautiful.
It looks really nice.
And also, honestly, this game, and I think the next game we'll probably talk about, EA Originals, probably one of the best things to come out of EA, in all honesty. Last year we got what was the name of the title from with the Prison Break? I think Deion.
A
Way Out.
Yes. Those games honestly are, to me, sometimes speak far better than any of the AAA games that EA tends to show at E3. So was really happy, and I think seeing the developer come up on or the director on the game come up on stage, the creator, and just kind of very heartfelt thank you to the audience for like buying into the first one. And also another big thing about this game is that it's co-op. You know, like we're actually getting co-op in this game, which was not, from my understanding, in the first Unravel. So
right,
that's really cool as well.
And the next one that they announced, next kind of indie title, this is from German studio, probably gonna mess this up, Joe May Games.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up this woman, Cornelia Gebert. She's the writer, creative director. Really like heartfelt speech before she shows the game, just saying that this game is about loneliness, and you could just see her passion, which I like. Normally when they bring developers on stage, it's either a little corny, it's a little awkward, and this was a little awkward. You could tell she was really nervous. She even said like how nervous she was, but just overall, like I just seeing that emotion when people are excited about their own games and that passionate, it kind of transfers to me too. And then flash to the trailer, I'm sold. Like it's you. I can't really tell what kind of game this is.
Right.
It's a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It also reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, Papa E.O. Have you heard of that game?
Sounds very familiar.
It's basically this little boy and this big monster, and like the way that you both have to like solve puzzles together, but underneath it, like there's a story about this boy whose like father is like an alcoholic and abusive. So there's much more to it than just being, like some sort of puzzle game. Right. So seeing this, this girl running around this city environment, which looks beautiful, and then seeing this like giant fish monster that kind of has her face on it, like it just reminded me of that game,
Gotcha.
That they're going to tell this story in a very abstract way. So,
yeah, the monster coming up from the pier, wherever, with the red eyes being gigantic, I was just like, what is this game?
Yeah.
Right.
And just the look of it too, just the art direction, like I'm all in.
Definitely a game with a deeper message, so excited to see what it comes to.
Yeah, I ended up following the creative director on Twitter, and she's just like blown away at all the feedback, retweeting fan art and stuff.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, really cool just to see someone just that passionate about their game.
Random side conversation. Games that have a serious message like that, or have, deeper emotional impact on individuals, what do you guys think of those? Because to me, video games are always like an escape from the real world, right? Where you go to like escape emotion. So games that are like, Battlefield is like, whatever, or adventure games or something like that. Sometimes I'm a little hesitant to invest in it because I'm like, I already got enough problems in my own life. Like I don't know if I could take on this fictional character's problems into my psyche.
Detroit Become Human was that way for me. Like
it was a little serious. It was on the border for me.
Even just going back to get some other trophies like that I didn't do initial playthrough, I was like, I know it's a video game, but I feel honestly bad making this decision.
The girl in the title screen for Detroit, I was like, oh god, I don't know. She's asking me these serious questions, and I don't think I'm prepared to answer them.
Actually, they patched that. I don't want to give spoilers, but at the end of the game, something happens with the girl on the title screen, and they patched it so you didn't need to make a choice because people felt really bad. So,
I mean, that's good that a game can make you.
Oh yeah,
it is. It's very feel that way.
It's an art form, right? So art form is supposed to evoke emotion to some extent, right? But it's just interesting, what is it? Dichotomy is the word. Just because you go to escape, reality, and oftentimes, you're actually pulled into someone else's.
Yeah, that's good.
For me, it's a mood. Like I have to be in a certain mood to play a game like this. It wouldn't be something, like I get off work and I want to play a game for like 30 minutes before I go to bed.
Right.
Like I probably wouldn't pick this up. This will definitely be like a rainy Saturday that I'm gonna. I mean, whether it's raining or not, I'm staying in. But
I was gonna say,
rainy Saturday, regular Saturday.
Yeah.
I think the games that do that best are the ones that actually don't even fully convey that like verbally, right? Like Journey.
Oh
or like a Limbo, or games like that that are like
Last of Us was definitely like that for me.
Games you're kind of meant to play and they kind of show you that without just like expressing it verbally fully, right?
Journey doesn't have a single point of dialogue, and the first time I beat it, I cried at the end. Like,
You
actually playing the last level and whatever, spoilers for, a 10-year-old game. Not 10, but close. Just like the second to last level, you're climbing up this mountain. You're trying to get to the light at the top of the mountain, and you're with your partner who you may have been playing the whole game with, not able to communicate with, and you just slowly stop and collapse on the mountain, and you just, like, die. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't see that coming. Like, I'm just, like, skating through the sand and having a good time and floating around with this random person I connected with. And then they hit me with that. And I haven't looked up anything about how you're supposed to interpret the story of Journey. But to me, that felt like death. And then the last level, you're just purely just flying up to the top of the mountain. It, like, fades, and then it comes back, and it's like you're alive again, and you're both just flying through this amazing atmosphere. It felt like death, heaven, reaching that light, and then the end of the game is you walking into the light, and then it just shoots you to the sky, back to exactly where you started. And it's like, now you can just play again. And it was, to me, it was like death, going to heaven, reincarnation. And I was like, what the fuck? It blew my mind.
Right.
And I was just like in tears at the end. And yeah, that for me, that game was like, put your headphones on. I turned off all the lights.
I got my headphones on.
And that was like, I'm gonna play this all night until I beat it.
Yeah,
And I played it in one sitting.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of games that, like, you have to be in the mood to play.
Sorry for the tangent, but it's interesting to see games like that and how people get, into them or excited about them.
That's right. I think that leads in great for this next game.
Which is
Command
the
and Conquer
opposite.
Rivals.
Yeah.
Mobile game demonstrated on stage.
Best game of E3, hands down.
Oh jeez.
This is like the top cringe. I
yeah.
think after last year and the year before, everyone was pretty much in agreement. Don't bring shoutcasters to like a scripted gameplay. I mean, just don't bring them on stage for your event. It just doesn't make sense unless you're having a tournament.
Right.
Like what Nintendo did, which we'll get to later. But yeah, it was just awful.
A prime example of just showcasing EA and how out of touch they are.
Yeah.
First off, like, I think to your point, like, what we recognize coming off of the last few years is that anytime that happened and it was done for a brand new game or like some sort of like unannounced, like, somehow we've turned this game that hasn't even come out into an esport already. Like, that notion is a little crazy, right? That expectation, because we all know that you don't turn your game into an esport, the community turns your game into an esport.
Yeah.
So to me, that just shows, again, just how out of touch they are, and again, probably, to me, one of the cringiest moment of the entire press for them.
Did anybody download it?
No.
Nah.
Can you download it right now?
Yeah.
I think
you
that
can
was
download
also
that
a
moment.
shadow.
I'm doing it live. We're doing it live.
Don't worry, we're not going to actually play this.
The hell,
And I
the
think
hell we're
that
not.
So, like, I don't know about any of you guys, but did any of you guys play, like, the original CNC games? I mean, like,
I was gonna
had
say
to, right? Like,
I haven't played since Red Alert.
Red Alert, Tiberian Sun
So-
was my shit.
So how did you feel at the very end of the trailer where you see the hooded figure release his hood and it's Kane? You're like, what did you guys just do?
I had such high hopes when I saw the Command and Conquer logo because it was a really weird intro. It was like they just dove right into the trailer and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh sure, we actually gonna get a new Command and Conquer? And I'm like, okay, come on, Tiberian Sun, like,
Well-
I don't know what they're on, like 4 or whatever. And I'm like, I will play this. Rivals Mobile. What?
Well, let me ask this. Were any of you guys even remotely interested when you saw the Command and Conquer logo and they said on mobile?
No, yeah, as soon as I saw the mobile and I was like,
Right.
I mean, without even seeing gameplay, I think the idea of imagining an RTS game on mobile, for me, it's really hard
was
to...
it on the initial?
Yeah, so I think,
missed that.
if I remember correctly, so they brought this guy, right? He comes up and they're like, then they show you like that's right, they dove directly into the gameplay, to the shoutcasting the game. And they don't tell you what it's titled or anything. And then at the very end of the match, they are like, and what you guys have just seen is Command and Conquer Rivals, available for iOS and Android. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding
And then
me.
they followed that up with a CG trailer.
Yes, with the
which
with
some
the
people thought, oh,
it was a different game.
maybe they're going to jump into a real Command and
yes.
Conquer.
So that's what I thought. I was
And
like,
they messed that up.
leading
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know how many people could be super excited about that kind of a mobile announcement.
It's hard. It really is.
And that's why, with Microsoft, with Gears, they did it a little differently. They're like, oh, Gears Pop. Gears
Lord.
Funko Pop. But like, oh, don't worry, we also have Gears 5. Like, that's coming too.
Yeah.
Like,
if they follow
stop writing your angry email right now. Like, we got the game you want as well.
Yeah, if the trailer actually led into a real Command & Conquer game, PC game.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
What is a popular RTS on mobile right now?
I have no idea.
I don't think I've ever played an RTS on my phone. It's always a game I sat down for like an hour or two.
The Kingdom one. Clash of Kingdoms? Clash of
Clans?
No.
So
that's an RTS?
Is that? I was going to say.
Well, there's different variations of Clash of Clans. The reality is that you can't do a true live RTS. Like, it has to be a turn-based RTS, right? Because nobody, this idea of creating these sort of persistent worlds or bases or whatever, and then you're only able to damage that opponent when that opponent is online, or to queue up to kind of play each other.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work for me. And for me personally, the idea of the complex games on mobile will never be a thing. But I think that's an entire subject of a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Fair.
So the next big one is Anthem.
Anthem!
And I'll kind of let you guys talk about that, because it's just not my kind of game at all.
Don't want it at all.
I mean, to me, really what I saw was just a lot of flying, not a lot of
fucking Iron
anything
Man,
else.
bro.
So
Iron Man the game.
But
I'm fine with that.
I mean, I'm gonna be negative Nancy. It's really hard to make Iron Man the game look boring and slow. That flying looks slow, very slow.
Yeah, you're never gonna get that fast paced with a multiplayer, not MMO, /MMO type game, because you just right now technically can't keep up with that. The environment can't be that big to fly quickly and get to a large distance with other people involved in the same thing. It's just not possible yet. I think eventually we're gonna get there, just like anything else.
They do kind of explain their logic behind that, right? So I think through the gameplay they showed with the devs talking, we hear them talk about the idea here is that you don't just have infinite flying, right? That they want a gameplay loop there. So what they're doing is they're basically saying, hey, for some of the javelins, which is essentially the exoskeletons for the game, is that they're gonna overheat, right? You're gonna overheat, and the way to continue staying in the air, you'll have to kind of cool your jets underneath waterfalls and environments. And my first thought around that, I'm like, that's a really cool gameplay mechanic. However, my God, that's got to be a nightmare for your environment artists that are trying to design these environments where you're like, oh my God, the last waterfall I saw was a mile back.
Waterfall somewhere.
I'm sure it's gonna
it'll be fluid
over time and cool down.
Sure,
so
it will. And I think some of them have different variations. Like the Storm, I believe, from what I heard, is that they can kind of hover longer in the air, but that also comes at the cost that they're not as powerful. They're not the more of the damager, and they focus more on kind of keeping the group together and that sort of thing with the buffs and debuffing. Yeah. Deion, what are your thoughts coming from a game like Destiny?
So it's Destiny's kind of the big kicker, right? Fuck you. No, really, I think that a game like that is. I hope that it does well. It looks beautiful.
Right.
Being in a fucking armored suit, shooting shit with my friends is going to be great, right?
Right.
I get worried that game will. I want the game to last for a long period of time, and I get worried it's going to turn into a Destiny 2, which was great, but at a certain point you get tired of farming for great loot. So, I hope that there's more longevity.
Destiny 2 is trash.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So,
not a fan of Destiny 2.
I
hope it's much better.
The story I could care less about. I did have fun, doing some of the multiplayer aspects, some of the raids. Some of that was fun, but it just it got tiring, right? And I don't know what story to expect out of this either. So I hope that the gameplay is good, but I just hope that there's longevity there. I think that's the biggest thing, or else it's just going to be something else that we go on, we play for a couple.
I just don't
like the Division 2.
Like the Division, yeah.
We'll get to that one. So I just don't think it's ever going to come out. They were showing concept art.
So yeah.
They said February.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
There's no way. Like, it's already been delayed, and they got on to E3 and showed concept art.
Yeah.
That's the most discouraging thing I could have seen. They could have just done the full first mission rather than doing kind of the abbreviated sections of the first mission, and I would have been much more impressed with it.
Yeah.
So does it worry you? Because those are the two things I took away from that was, one, they're on stage, they're showing us segments of gameplay, and they kept repeating the same segments, actually, for like the 20 minutes.
There's very little variety in what they showed.
Right, and the big thing before E3 is they put out the artwork, right, of the little pyramid, and it was trying to show like the different various environments that you're going to be able to encounter in the game, right?
And the different javelins.
Right? And we didn't see any of that. And to me, like, a good gameplay reveal needs to show you like the breadth and the depth of the game. And I don't think we saw that, right? We saw the same environment that we saw last year during E3's sort of original trailer. And the other thing that worried me, to your point, is like we're seeing concept art for a game that's like 6-7 months away, 8 months away at this point, right? So I don't know. And especially because we know that this game was pushed because essentially BioWare asked for more time on the game from EA, and I just don't know how much more they can really keep pushing this game.
Which I'm encouraged. If BioWare's going to take their time, I'd rather them take their time rather than EA force it out the door, because I have trust in BioWare. I don't have trust in EA at all. But the fact that they didn't show any inventory management or the actual customization during the mission was super concerning to
me. From my understanding, if you played the game at E3 on the show floor and we saw some of the content creators release video around it, they were not allowed to show any of that in their videos. They actually had to cut it out. They were only able to show like the actual gameplay. Yeah. Obviously, we get it, work in progress, so you probably don't, people overreact on the internet, you don't want to show them everything you've got, so I could see that being a valid reason, right? Okay. My other concern, though, is a game that's coming from BioWare, meaning huge focus on story. They even emphasized it multiple times during the presentation, how important story and lore are to this world and to this game. And yet, apparently,
no story.
On the E3 demo, no story, no voice lines, no nothing. Like all of that was cut from the E3 demo. We could again give them the benefit of the doubt and say, because you don't want to ruin anything, part of the story or any of that. But to me, if you're given a vertical slice of the game, I honestly have never felt like that's ever a problem. If you give me a random point, just even and what they showed us was actually a side mission.
Yeah,
it wasn't even part of the main storyline. So I don't really get like the worry behind why it would be like a huge thing for them to reveal some story elements about what that was. So.
Maybe the game's so dynamic that it would ruin it no matter what.
Who knows? I am excited, though, that this game does take you from air to water. To me, that was one of the most exciting things to see your javelin go from the air, dive into the water, go into the depth. And because that verticality, I think, can present some really, really cool just environments. And so that's really exciting. But only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, we just haven't seen enough really to make like the final judgment. Like, man, this game's gonna be great, or
I was so excited for them to show more. That was really the only reason why I watched the EA conference.
Sure.
And then
did it sell you? Let me ask that. Did it sell you on the game?
No, it made me more worried.
Yeah,
I was sold prior with less. Yeah. And now I'm like.
Now you're like, geez, I hope they don't fuck it up.
Slightly worried.
Honestly, I'm waiting to see on all their titles now. I'm like, I don't know. I'll casually look, but I'm like, I gotta wait for some reviews.
I'm not getting. I pre-order everything, and I know.
Also, interesting point.
But I'm not pre-ordering this.
Interesting point about the pre-order for this game. There was right after E3, right after the game got it's demoed, on the stage. When it went live on Origin for pre-order, there was only one version of the game, and it was like the Digital Deluxe Ultra Edition for like $79.99. And then like a week later, then they added the standard version of the game for the $59.99.
Right out that EA playbook right there.
Yep.
Just like Battlefield 5, if you're really concerned about the girl on the cover, you can pay $20 more and get the deluxe digital.
Now, that's hilarious. I love that.
So actually, it's actually the flip. It's the girl on the cover is for the digital deluxe, and the one with the guy is the standard edition of the game.
No, it's the
it's
opposite.
Is it the flip?
Yeah.
Because there's a
wow.
wage gap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I thought it was
75%.
flipped. Yeah. Oh Lord.
There's a wage gap of men and women.
Oh my God. That's
I
it.
see what you mean.
That's it.
We're getting a large boo from the audience.
That's weird.
Anyways, let's move on. I think we are about like 40 minutes in, and we've
jeez.
only covered EA. Oh, this will be an hour long.
Oh yeah.
Wow, we spent all that time on like
Yeah,
the worst
Rage.
one.
So we'll go through a little quicker. Next, we'll go to Bethesda, and they start off with Andrew WK performance, which
That rock concert.
like Andrew
Classic
WK,
Andrew
like
WK dance.
energetic guy. I think that would have been fine if they just had the game Rage 2 playing
Yes.
as he was doing
Yeah.
that, but it was just screenshots and
Same.
like menu
Promo
looking
art, basically, of
like
the
it was
game,
kind
yeah.
of the kind of image you would see like during load screens.
Yeah.
Is basically what they were showing. So
screen
yeah,
concert.
that was dumb. Don't ever do that again.
Please, Bethesda, don't do that again.
Yeah, really stupid. But Rage 2.
Have you guys played Rage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I played,
Okay.
I played
haven't.
Rage.
I never even heard of it.
So I played Rage. When did it come out on originally? I think I played it on Xbox.
I want to
but
say.
I don't know what other consoles.
I want to say it was like 2013.
Yeah, but
I
what
was gonna
console?
guess 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So I mean, I played Rage all the way through. I beat it. Great graphically looking game.
beat it?
Terrible. I know. One of the few games I actually beat and did the side stuff.
Well, it's id Software.
It had a terrible ending. So that game
Yeah.
is known for having a really bad ending. So it was good.
2011.
Did it make you rage?
2011.
It did make me rage.
At the bad end.
I don't know. It looked good. So I don't know what do I look for this type of game. Probably the same crazy shit that was kind of in the first game. You know, like you don't take it seriously. It's kind of just one of those games you go, you play,
Hey, John, give me a BLT on
and you
that.
move
Thanks.
on. So
I think they did a good job communicating that because that's exactly
right.
coming from someone who had no idea what this was and didn't know it was such a big deal. Like when it got leaked by, I think it was the Walmart stuff,
Yeah.
leaked a bunch of these titles, and everyone was freaking out about Rage 2. I was like, what? What is this thing?
Right.
And from what they showed and what I've seen so far of it, that's exactly how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
or that's exactly what I'm expecting it to be. Is like you wouldn't take it too seriously, but like you jump in, you have a lot of crazy fun. Like,
Right.
I guess
Right.
not. I don't want to compare it too much to Just Cause, but like Just Cause is not a game you take too seriously.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you're grappling people to a plane and then watching the plane
Right.
fly off
Right.
as someone's.
Well,
like,
it's funny that you
flying
mentioned that
behind it.
because I don't know if you're aware, but the game basically is made by Avalanche Studios, who made the Just Cause games.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
Right? They also made Mad Max, right? Which is an open world, just do whatever. You want to race your car, you want to customize your car, you want to get your weapons, right? It's essentially just an open world RPG where you can do whatever. So it's a collaboration between id Software and Avalanche, essentially working on this title. From what I heard from anybody that played actually on the show floor, they all had surprisingly positive reviews of like how well the game played and how fluid it
Nice.
was. So I think it might just be a fun game. To Deion's point, I think the first one was more of just really a tech demo. I don't really think they knew what they wanted to do with the story.
It definitely wasn't. It definitely was more of a tech demo, and there was definitely things there that should have been more fluid, more
Right.
thought through.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone kind of knows what they're getting out of this game, and I think that's what's good about it. You know what you're going to get out of it.
Exactly. I think if more than anything, I think this game did a really great job of showing exactly what it is to the audience, to the core audience that cares about that kind of game.
Yeah, I agree. Next up was Doom. It's getting a sequel.
Nice.
It's called Doom Eternal. This is another game that, like, you know, I'm not big on first-person shooters, but if I'm going to play any one of them, Doom is one of them, and I still do want to check it out. So seeing that it's getting a sequel, I was pretty happy about that. It means it's selling well, and people were excited about this. Did anyone here play Doom?
Absolutely.
You did?
I played a couple of them. I did not play the most recent one though.
Doom was the very first PC video game I ever played. Like the
Yeah.
original.
Oh, yeah.
thing.
I
It
definitely
was-
played a lot back in
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah. But you played the prequel to this as well, right? 2016?
I played.
Yeah.
I have it. I just haven't played
I
it.
played some of it, and then I
It's incredibly good.
Yeah.
got
It's incredibly good.
It looks
distracted.
really fast-paced and just like...
It's super fast paced,
Running
right? Like
through
that's
the
basically what the franchise is known for.
Yeah.
What's cool is that we kind of got a hint that potentially this dude is gonna be on Earth. So the demons are kind of making their way from hell somehow. Some sort of portal to Earth, and they're gonna. So, which I think is cool. I mean, maybe we'll be able to see some sort of like broken down, sort of key locations in the world.
Yeah.
In this, so who knows? Excited.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and this is just for Bethesda in general, is they did a really good job at really advocating towards different types of platforms, right? Like Doom is on a Switch. They talk about Switch games, mobile games, VR games. They literally cover like every type of platform you can get out of the game. And you got to give them credit for doing that and forward thinking how they can like really advocate towards their audience for everything.
Yeah. I love Bethesda. Everything, even Fallout 4 with the various failures it has, I love it.
I don't understand. There's no failures.
I won't get into that. That's a whole different discussion that we'll talk about shortly, probably.
Yeah.
Next two announcements, I'm going to lump these into one because they are just expansions. So you have a Prey DLC and Wolfenstein DLC.
Young blood.
Why are you looking at me like that? Is this the one time we get to talk about Nazis in the cast?
Yeah, you get to talk about Nazis all you want.
Hard pass.
So, Prey, I really wasn't even on my radar. Not interested at all. The, what was it? Suzanne Cath and Richard Bear, their little thing, kid and getting killed at the end and all that stuff. Yeah. They actually sold me more on it than I think anything else. It was, gimmicky and cringy a little bit. But you could tell they had that passion like you were talking about. Yeah. And now I kind of want to play it, although it looks scary as shit. So.
Did you play the original?
No, I didn't.
Neither did I. My PC couldn't handle it at the time. I'm being honest right now with the people. Don't always got the most up-to-date hardware. I couldn't keep up.
Don't always?
Never.
Ever.
I never do.
Yeah. Wolfenstein, another game that you know what you're going to get out of it, and so just having a co-op ability of that, I think it's going to be great.
These are the VR ones? Or no?
No.
Well, in their VR, aren't they doing Wolfenstein VR or something like that? Didn't I say something?
I can't remember.
I don't think so.
So this is DLC where you're I think you're two sisters.
The twin daughters of
the protagonists of the main one.
Yes.
Wolfenstein
Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot. It's some VR piece that they were doing. I thought there was a VR piece to that, and
so it's like some sort of maybe off experience from within the world of Wolfenstein.
Yeah, which that's what I thought would be interesting. Would be to see that in the VR experience.
Right.
I want to say that they were doing something for Prey as well.
I would rip my headset off.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that they announced for Prey was a shadow drop available right away.
Which I believe is
for free as well.
Yeah, it's the essentially hide and seek mode, I believe, with the mimics where
you can become
a mimic.
It's like a trash can.
Yeah, so you have one person is kind of the one that's searching, and everybody else is the one that's hiding as a mimic.
Yeah,
so trying to kill a 1v5, which I think is a really cool idea, and it fits the the gameplay of what Prey is about. So,
so the free stuff includes New Game Plus and Survival Mode. Also a shadow drop was paid DLC called Moon Crash, and then they announced an upcoming competitive mode called Typhon Hunter. Wouldn't Typhoon have two O's?
Oh yeah, so Typhon Hunter, I guess.
So one human character takes on a group of 5 players controlling shape-shifting mimics.
That's cool. So that's
pretty.
Oh wait, that's the competitive one.
Yeah, I guess that's the one that's going to be coming later. I don't know if we got a date for that.
Yeah, Moon Crash is the VR piece.
Moon Crash is VR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this article doesn't say what Moon Crash is. It just says
that's the VR experience. I'm almost positive.
Gotcha.
Anywho, moving on.
The big one hard pass.
Yeah. This is the biggest announcement, I think, for Bethesda. I mean, sure, hey, they've got a new IP coming, and we are working on Elder Scrolls.
Wait, we're not going to talk about Starfield? We're going to skip over Starfield?
Oh, no, we're not. But I think there's an interesting...
You want to talk about it?
I mean, I want to talk about it.
There's not much to talk about.
Except getting super excited about it.
We'll get to that.
All right.
Yeah.
Fallout 76.
I would like at least 2 minutes dedicated to strictly hype about it.
Fallout 76. I'm curious I want to ask you guys what you thought about just first how they presented it, right? So you have like a Todd Howard doing this like Steve Jobs approach, right?
Love Todd Howard. I don't know.
If you love so much, why don't you marry him?
So I think
it's not legal
that. So last year we saw Todd Howard come up and talk about, a few years ago, Fallout 4, right? When he came out and announced Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best people at that studio to come out and talk about their games for a couple of reasons. One, he's very well spoken. Two, clearly he is full hands-on with any game that they make at that studio. Like, he is on the ground floor, working with the devs, working with the artists, and making sure that they're pushing like this game to its limits. And I also like the guy because he's just a pure risk taker. He does not believe in like taking it safe, and I think that's how you get a product like Fallout 76. Because as we all know, we saw how the different opinions after this got released, and I think the most challenging thing before even getting into the game itself and the gameplay is that because this is taking such a clear different direction from previous Fallout games, this was going to be one of the hardest games to talk about in front of such a passionate audience that clearly comes from a core like, I want story-based Fallout, right? Yeah. So I don't know. How do you think like the sort of his presentation, talking through the gameplay of the game went?
I was gonna say I think it's a smart strategy, right? It's the same things you said. You want your gamers to feel comfortable, right? And so he's kind of like taking you on the journey. It's like, okay, I trust this guy, and he's like, it's gonna be different, but like he's kind of explaining those differences, and so it's like making people feel comfortable,
you gotta ease
as opposed to them just throwing out, hey, there's this multiplayer world, and everyone's just like, what does that mean? What's going to happen? And he's like kind of just talking it through, having like little comedic moments to make people feel a little bit more comfortable.
He's
is a different
very
concept.
Comfortable himself on stage.
Yeah.
I know who he is. I wasn't extremely familiar with him, but from all the other people they brought up on stage that night, like that really tall guy and the other dude who were just like looking at each other for 30 seconds, not saying a word. Like, it's just completely different atmosphere once he was on stage.
Also, shout out to Todd Howard for that sweet leather jacket. That's how you come out strong.
Shout out,
baller.
Todd Howard.
Yeah. We'll show that like right here.
Join the crowd, Chris. Come on.
So
the water's fine.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I know it's not going to be Fallout 3. It's not going to be Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4. It's going to be closer to Fallout 4 in my opinion. There's not going to be, apparently they confirm, no NPC dialogue that you'll have, which is weird to me. But it's going to be a bunch of data logs and things like that.
Yeah, they mentioned using what are the name of the robots, like the NPC robots, like using them a lot instead of actual other human NPCs.
Yeah. Well, we do know that there's like, obviously because of the whole like we're trying to make all humans playable characters in the game, because there are technically for story's sake played by actual players. But they did say that there is like a human race. I forget what they're called, but essentially like
hillbillies.
Yeah, possibly. But essentially, they're like, they've taken a lot of like radiation and so they're
gonna be like ghouls.
They're not humans, but they're similar to ghouls. I think they have an official name for them, but I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
Ghouls like.
They're using West Virginia lore too. Apparently, there's like this giant sloth.
They're gonna end up using a lot of that stuff.
Which is pretty
two-headed sloth or three-headed sloth. I'm like, yes, I'll take that.
But I mean, it's not gonna be It's not gonna be those original Fallouts. It's gonna be closer to Fallout 4, maybe even less. Like the Fallout 4, the shit I was talking about earlier, is because your options are, I have 4 things to say, and they're all like 2-word answers rather than Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, which were super dynamic, based even on your intelligence, based on your different skill sets and things like that. Like if you hit an intelligence of like 2 in Fallout New Vegas, you would pretty much mumble half your shit. Yeah. It was just an awesome mechanic of the game. This is going to be not that at all. It's going to be that online, going to be the base building. But I'm super excited. As long as you know there's a clear distinction between the two type of game sets, it's going to be squatting up and fucking killing mutations and nuking other players.
Yeah, I don't
super excited.
I don't look at it as this is Fallout 5, right? It's Fallout 76.
Exactly.
So as long as you make
It's
that distinction,
one more.
It's like New Vegas, right? So it's
Right.
it doesn't follow through with the storyline of Fallout. It's an off experience essentially within the Fallout universe.
I think what a lot of people get upset about is they think that it's really a this or that. Like, oh, if they weren't working on Fallout 76, they would be working on Fallout 5, which I know I'll enjoy because I like 3, New Vegas, and 4. But it's just it's a different take. They had a different vision. Like,
I think Fallout 4 still has life to it, though, to some extent. I'd still be willing to play some DLC. So, like, why do you can still use that property right now.
Yeah, they're gonna do Fallout 4. They're gonna do 76 as kind of their foray into the online realm. See how that goes. I get that's the trend right now. It's the money making scheme, whatever people are saying, but it's a different offshoot. Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna come out, then Fallout 5 is gonna come out, or Fallout, whatever they're gonna call it.
The only thing that makes me upset about 76 is that I think it would have made a good storyline for a full game.
I do agree with that.
That's the only thing is I was like, man, that would have been nice to play
the
a
first
full
Fallout coming out, stuff like that. I mean, that would be a great storyline. Although there's probably not that much established yet, so maybe there wouldn't be as dynamic.
I just think this is a stepping stone for that, right? It's like they're exploring some areas that they've never done before. In this kind of, just West Virginia, not the multiplayer craziness.
No one has.
But it's like
one viewer is West Virginia.
It's like a stepping stone there where you're getting there, right? Let's introduce multiplayer aspects and just players and no NPCs and I think this will be the true test, and if everyone hates on it, it's like, all right, well, we'll do Fallout 5. But if this does well, then like maybe they will make this more of an established story plus the multiplayer aspect.
Yeah, if it was a story where you could opt into multiplayer as well, I think that would be a great kind of amalgamation of the two. If this goes well,
like an MMO where you like can opt in to have like that PvP, like the players around, like if there was something similar.
Old Republic, to be honest, where you have those story zones, but then you can go into the separate like kind of multiplayer area.
Yeah, I am curious to see like long term just how this is going to play out for people who only enjoy the single player story.
Yeah,
I'm curious to know how much this is really going to affect them, because I think to Jordan's point, I think those players are going to say, no, I'm going to stay with Fallout 4. I'm going to keep playing that game because it still has plenty of life ahead of it, especially with the modding community. I think what Fallout 76 truly is that it's an evolution, because we saw it with the Elder Scrolls. They were like, well, we want to dip our feet into what online could be like for Elder Scrolls, and they are seeing how successful. I believe Elder Scrolls Online has like 12 million players right now. So they're seeing that success, and they're saying, how can we replicate that in a Fallout universe? So curious to see how it's going to play out. I think I told you, like, you guys saw my reactions, like, as the conference was going. I was not very excited. The more I'm reading about it, I'm kind of starting to see, like, their vision for what this game is. I think the biggest problem I have right now is that even with that 20-minute presentation on stage, there's just still a lot of missing pieces and details. But I feel like the beta is going to answer those questions, but also that's one of the reasons I'm upset, is that to get access to the beta, you do have to pre-order the game. And I feel like that's a practice that I'm not a huge fan of either, because it's like, okay, do I pre-order the game and then I cancel after I get access to the beta? I feel like that's a cheap way, and there's plenty of games that we saw at E3 this year that said, hey, our beta's coming in a few months, sign up for it today, like the Division 2. You don't need to pre-order the game, and I think that's a better practice.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you pre-order?
For
Fallout 76.
No, I have not.
I have not.
I'm not either.
Really?
Now I will say,
you just said you pre-ordered everything.
I will say, because me and Michelle spent quite 30 minutes last night looking at the collector's edition, and I did regret a little bit that I didn't pre-order that night, because I know that I think 30 minutes after the conference ended, the scalpers had already purchased literally every single one of the collector's editions online.
So I pre-ordered that night. I did not get the helmet, but more so just because I can't have any more of those in my house. So.
You can just wear it around to your work and your job.
But John, it has a light flashlight on the helmet.
I know.
And a voice modulator.
Do you have the Pip-Boy? Because then you could wear the helmet.
I don't have the Pip-Boy.
Oh, Anton has a Pip-Boy.
I have the Pip-Boy.
Borrow Anton's Pip-Boy. Okay. Wear the helmet around.
Just a helmet.
Go to Publix or your local grocery store.
And get arrested.
All right, good time to
Can't
move
get
on.
arrested.
Does anyone want to talk about the Elder Scrolls Blades on mobile?
I do.
Can we skip
I
it?
do. I want to mention something.
All right, cool. We'll skip it.
No, I mainly just want to mention, to your point, one of the things, or I believe it might have been Deion that mentioned, that their focus, they're definitely in touch with gamers. And the reason I say that is that when you come in and you're pitching all these games, they take place in different universes, right? But then you're saying, hey, here's a game for everyone, right? Because you're coming out, you're saying this game is available on Switch. Hey, this game is going to be available on your consoles. Hey, here's a shadow drop of this game, right?
Yeah.
And then you come up and you talk about the mobile. Usually the least exciting part of any conference, in my opinion, at least from my perspective. But I will say this, that I just recently installed Fallout Shelter back on my phone because they had made quite a bit of updates to it. Great game, right?
No, okay.
And I will say what excites me about the Elder Scrolls Blades is that it's them really pushing technology in a new way. And the reason I say that is, and I think John will probably echo that, is that this is exciting. This is the first game you can play on your phone and potentially play against someone who's playing it in VR.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool. And honestly, it's kind of sad to say it, but those technologies are almost on par right now as far as the resource. Like, I can't play,
Right.
well, I was going to say Fallout 4. I can play Fallout 4 on VR.
Right.
Shit. But, Far Cry or something like that, where mobile can't play it, PC can. This, you really can do both. One thing I do have to gripe about real quick is Fallout Shelter doesn't carry over between devices. Because I had it on my phone, installed on the Switch.
Nope.
So
It's
now-
funny because I was
now
working on getting
uninstalled.
that last night to try to install it on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I haven't even launched it yet, but now that I know that that's not this is literally echoing this whole issue that we just saw with Fortnite and the PlayStation, right? Like at some point this whole crossplay thing has to be resolved because at the end of the day it's good for everybody. It's just a good business practice.
I uninstalled it on my phone because now I'll only play it on the Switch because you have to make that decision. I'm not going to maintain two separate shelters.
I'm assuming it's a technology issue about who owns where the data is
No,
stored.
no, I don't think so.
PlayStation wanting to make money.
No, that's
For the
At least on the
for
Fortnite
one.
At least on the Fortnite.
Yeah.
They have accidentally turned it on before.
Yep.
It's literally the flip of a switch
And
to turn on
Flip of a
crossplay.
Nintendo Switch?
Hey.
So PlayStation actually used it cross-platform with Steam. Portal was the first cross-platform PC PS4 game.
Yeah, with the
And it was
orange
great.
box, I believe.
Yeah, or Portal 2, sorry. But then it was some way. Nah, we don't want people to get money for things that they buy off our platform.
Yeah.
And I said, side conversation, but I definitely don't think they're gonna budge. Looking at their track record, it's like we're winning this generation. We're close to selling 100 million units. Why should we? If in their head it makes sense from a business perspective, but I think it's guess what. Gamers aren't going to forget that going into the next generation.
Yep.
And if that's what your stance is, and you see the stance of that Microsoft and Nintendo, they're basically saying we're partnering together. I think they're getting ready now to drop Minecraft crossplay between
I think they just did actually.
PC, Xbox, and the Switch all together now.
Yep.
So it's like clearly they're on the right path, and if you're going to get left behind, I think that's really going to hurt you in the coming into next.
Which is the polar opposite of what I thought it would end up being.
Yeah.
I thought for sure it'd be Microsoft being standoffish and PlayStation being okay.
Or just Nintendo.
Listen,
Because
or just
Nintendo
give
has
Microsoft some more credit.
always done their own
They're
thing.
expanding. They're changing their attitude. All right, just look at some of the business practices.
Yeah, they bought GitHub.
Right, they bought GitHub. They're listen. But also the Linux piece that they're being more open with Linux.
Yeah. Okay.
They're opening their doors, their arms of love. Come in.
So now we want to talk about the
I want to talk about the
closing.
Zoom. Let's talk about the Zoom.
Let's talk about the closing. That's for another podcast. Let's talk about this closing of Bethesda, right?
10-second
Alright.
trailers.
My 2 second
I'll
hype of
for
Starfield.
Starfield, go for
Two
it.
second,
go.
not 2
2 second hype. Bethesda in space.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. Okay, I'm just really excited. I loved
Dude.
Mass Effect, so anything that could be as another awesome experience as I thought Mass Effect
So
was.
we've
I'm excited about
had
that.
plenty of rumors online about what this game is, probably for going on like 9 months now, between like 4chan and Reddit. And from the premise of what this game,
Don't ask.
from what the premise of what this game sounds, it is basically Fallout in space. However, with this idea of procedurally generated planets that we can jump around and fly between. Sounds like a
Mass Effect Andromeda?
No Man's Sky.
That was.
Oh, No Man's Sky?
But actually, funny enough, that was what Mass Effect Andromeda was trying to do before they cut that game and had to essentially begin production on it all over again.
Unpopular opinion, I like Mass Effect Andromeda. So even if it was like that,
You played it after the patch.
Yeah.
I did play it after the patch.
Yeah, you didn't play it on day one, which was a struggle.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay.
Struggle bus.
Why?
So-
you guys gotta stop playing games on day one, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
That's the lesson.
I'm just saying.
That's the lesson.
So
It's an unfortunate
At least
thing
the
in the
ones
industry.
where you could see the red flags, like with Mass Effect Andromeda. Before that game came out, looking at those facial animations, like it was just red flag. And then with these games that are games as a service, we have a plan for the first year. Yeah, because you haven't built your full game yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
like
I don't disagree.
what the fuck is that pirate game that just came out?
Sea of
Treachery?
Thieves? No, sorry about
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Got a refund.
Destiny, Destiny 2 didn't learn their lesson from the first Destiny. You know,
It's true, I
like
didn't learn
I
their lesson.
have a feeling
Destiny
Anthem is going to be
again.
like this. Honestly,
That's
like,
my worry.
they're going to
Return
return
to Destiny.
Yeah.
half of a game.
And the Destiny Strikes Back?
It's
Did I get out of order?
worrisome.
So I briefly just want to say something about the two trailer, or I don't even want to call them trailers. They're more teasers,
They're
right?
They're not at all.
Yeah.
So
First. Second.
I kind of want
It
to
looks like we're blessing the people,
Jordan.
because they can't see your posters.
Jordan. I'm curious, like for you
Bless
guys.
you in the name of the EA and the Bethesda.
Seeing those last two teasers at the end of the press, for me personally, and the reason I was not excited at all was because if you're someone who follows Bethesda or you read online, you know that this has been in the works for a while, that both these games have been in development, right? I think Elder Scrolls, though, is probably still so far off. They are not maybe going to be starting pre-production on that game soon.
Yeah.
We're probably looking at least 5 years out. Starfield,
Do you
probably
think that
at
much?
least
5 years?
I think so.
don't
I think
5
so.
years. I think 3.
Should you even show something at E3 that's 5 years
And
off?
That's what Anton's
And that's my
getting at.
logic, right? So the part that I was so upset about this year, because it happened with a bunch of titles, where we see a teaser or we see a trailer for a game that we know is so far off.
Yeah.
And to me, I get it. It's their way of saying, listen, fans, we're working on it. Like, here's these games that
Start
we're
the
trying to
hype
deliver
train.
now.
Started.
But we're working on these in the future so people aren't freaking out and sending them hate mail on Twitter and all that.
I feel like you needed to do that for Elder Scrolls. I don't know if you needed to do that for Starfield.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
there's enough. If they're just going to show Elder Scrolls Mobile and then just not bring it up at all, I do think you're going to get a
that's
bunch of hate. Like, where is it? So
When they
even,
talk about Blades, they have to mention 6.
Yeah,
Starfield,
just
they could
mention
kinda
it.
live with.
Starfield, there's no
But they did
previous
say-
expectation though.
Next generation. So they set the
Yeah.
expectation that like next gen consoles haven't even been announced.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're letting you know we're working on it, and they're
Yeah.
probably just going to shut up about it
Yeah.
for the next. Like,
I just
2
feel like
So-
it needed to happen for Elder Scrolls, not so much
Yeah.
Starfield. Since
Yeah.
it's a new
The
IP.
challenge is a Square Enix.
Well, the problem is that Elder Scrolls, they said, is the game after Starfield.
It is.
So if they said Elder Scrolls,
Yeah, that's a good point.
everyone's going to expect that and like maybe see it in the next year or two. But then they're going to show Starfield instead, and they're like, well, what the fuck happened to
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right.
So like,
That's a good point.
And
I
think-
agree with that up until like, but Elder Scrolls is coming out.
And I think
so
that's the
what
thing
they
that
got.
gets me the most is that like people's expectations for next year's E3 are going to be set so high that they're going to be like, oh my god, we're going to see the first gameplay ever. And I actually think that you might get a trailer showing Starfield next year. You will probably not see anything from Elder Scrolls, and my assumption, you won't see anything for the next 2 years at E3 about that game whatsoever.
I don't even think you'll see Starfield next year.
If
I don't
anything,
either,
maybe
actually.
a tech demo, like a tech
Yeah.
just visual.
I think
concept,
we'll get a
Very
trailer.
little.
but like
I think we'll get a trailer, maybe a CG trailer.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
don't think
maybe
we're going to
CG
Really
be
just to
trailer.
show off like the
But
atmosphere.
yeah, there might be a behind closed doors,
Yeah.
but I think that'll be the extent of that game.
All right.
So I feel real quick. I feel like I'm gonna butcher this name. Tetsuya Nomura, who works for Square Enix, just came out saying that he really regretted bringing up Kingdom Hearts 3 so long ago and the Final Fantasy 7 remake long
There you
ago.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna say the same thing 3 years from now.
I think so.
When
That's a
they're
good
talking
point.
about both of these
I'm
games.
sure. What I was going to go was a side tangent, but related to this, which is that I'd actually love to see the video game industry do what the music industry has been doing with these surprise drop albums. You know, all of a sudden, it's obviously really hard because there's so many people working on a video game to do something like that. But if you could keep a game under wraps until it's more, you know, developed and there's more to show, I think the hype train nowadays would get, you know, built faster because we've been burned on things like this. It's like, oh my gosh, finally we're gonna get, you know, the Kingdom Hearts 3. Nope, not this. It's a joke. It was a joke up until now. Like even still, I'm just like, no, that's never coming out. Like it's literally the butt of jokes.
Yeah. But it's funny you mention that because I think last year's E3 kind of was like really showed me that Bethesda was the closest company to doing anything like that because we got the announcement of both the Evil Within 2, we got the announcement for Wolfenstein, and then they said, and it was like, oh my god, these games are coming out in 3 months. And granted, it's not day of, but that's far better than any game company has made an announcement about a game and
within 6 months or something like that. It's like awesome.
Whoa, like I'm gonna be able to play this game in 3 months. And when you think about it, Fallout 76, same situation. You're like, oh my god, in November we'll be playing this game.
Yeah, well, I was so excited to hear that.
Yes,
like,
and then fast forwarding to the Nintendo piece, right?
Yeah.
The Pokemon game, right? Let's Go Pikachu is what, November, right?
December.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
That's
holiday.
Let's Go Eevee.
Holiday.
That has been
Let's Go Eevee. Your flavor.
business practice now for like about the past year
Love
and a
it.
half, 2 years is we're just going to show you what's coming out in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
And they, I mean,
I love that approach.
They had to show like Metroid Prime 4 and like that Yoshi game last year at E3 because it's really to sell you on the Switch to be like, hey, we have great games coming. And yes, even after the release of the Switch, there's even more. Don't worry, we have plenty of ideas coming. And then since then, it's been like they'll have their Nintendo Direct. Here's the next 3 months. Yep. And some of it you haven't even heard of. Like,
I'm okay with a crumb here or there, right? But like, don't make it a spotlight.
Yeah, I think it just goes with setting expectations. And when you show me something with no release date or no sort of like light at the end of the tunnel, it's honestly really hard for me to get excited about that.
Yeah, if you can't give a year, don't talk about it.
I mean, I think this is all just them just letting you know that like
it's getting to the fans.
They're announcing a Fallout game that people are unsure about. They're announcing a mobile Elder Scrolls. They're just trying to tell you like, don't worry, our vision hasn't changed. We're still going to put out the games you love, and in fact, we have a new IP and the game you've been asking for so long. But I do think they were pretty clear that like if this
they're not
is
as
next
guilty as
gen,
some other people are.
and then Elder Scrolls is the game after the game, so like it's going to take a long time. So I really think that like if as long as you understand that, your expectations should be insane for the next.
I was okay
E3.
with the way Elder Scrolls happened versus the Anthem one.
Yeah.
And with Skyrim, I mean, arguably one of the best games of all time. I know we can debate that, but it's they can set a far timeline and people will be okay with it.
People will be excited for Elder Scrolls no matter what. You know, it's that's the reality I think. But it's just
so much work goes into
to me, I felt like at 76 we're actually like a really at a high point in the press. And like to end it with like, I get that you gotta just shut it with Blades because it's like you don't want to throw that in the middle of the conference because they want to talk about it. But it just seeing those two teasers really, I was like, oh my god, I was really expecting to see so much more Starfield because this was the E3 that I was like, show me Starfield. We've heard about this game. We see when you guys filed the trademark like years ago on this game. Show it to me, and all we see is space. You know, and a logo.
Bethesda in space.
I like the logo though, by the way.
But if you,
also, pre-order Blades on mobile.
I looked at.
John, give me a sandwich.
As I mentioned, I watched the 2016 Sony conference this morning just because I wanted to. If you look at an announcement like God of War, right? That was the first time it was shown 2 years ago. There was so many differences that I noticed now that I've played and beat the game. Like that opening part where he takes Atreus on a hunt. There were so many differences. Like in the corner, it kept saying like knowledge obtained. That's not in the game at all. and just the
Well,
moveset.
there's so many games that do that though. Like Ubisoft is kind of notorious for doing that. Like if you look at Division, UI is completely different. If you look at like Rainbow Six Siege, completely different than E3 to actual.
I'll definitely be talking about that when we get into the PlayStation conference because
6 hours from now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes.
But so what I'm saying is, like, would you rather them try to throw something together that's going to be completely different than what the game's going to end up being, or just like, I think I'd rather just see a teaser, like, hey, it's coming.
Maybe.
And then the next time, show me some real gameplay.
So the next time you show it,
right?
But like next year, if Bethesda is not going to show Starfield at all, they need to say it before their conference. So like that, there are times where I think it's good. Like there are studios that people expected to see games from this year, and the studios didn't say anything until like halfway through E3. Like, hey, we're not at E3, just because like that kills hype. And they want people talking about their studio. So like there is a business reason to not reveal that stuff. But I think in Bethesda's case, like probably next year, a good idea to say like, hey, like we said, Bethesda or Starfield is next gen. We're not going to be showing it at the conference, but we have other things to talk about to show you or whatever. You know.
I agree.
So
I'm glad we talked about it for more than 2 minutes. You see, that was productive.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. But again, so far off, it's hard to just think about it right now.
God, so Microsoft, somebody ordered me a pizza.
We're saving the big three for last. I'm gonna try and speed us through these next two. You guys want to talk about Ubisoft or Square first?
Let's talk about Square.
Square.
Let's talk about Square.
Square. I'm just gonna go through the games that they showed. We got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You have Captain Spirit, which is like a Life is Strange spin-off Season 2 thing. Babylon's Fall from Platinum Games. Just Cause 4 and The Quiet Man. John, which one of those... Oh, and I mean, they showed other stuff like Kingdom Hearts. Like, they showed the same trailer.
Everything showed Kingdom Hearts.
Everybody showed Kingdom Hearts, and everybody had a different trailer.
Yeah.
And they were all fucking weird Japanese style.
Yeah. Which one of these you want to talk about?
Tomb Raider.
Alright.
Just Cause 4, I'm going to probably get it. I'm going to play it, blow shit up, but I don't think there's anything else to talk about.
I don't think there's
that
much to
game
talk
is
about
literally just fucking dumb fun.
Yeah, you know what to expect from the next one.
Tomb Raider, I'm blanking on the most recent one. The name.
I know what you're talking about.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
That's this one.
That's this one. Damn
it.
The most recent one
Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, yeah.
This one was leaked because a guy was on a subway or a bus or whatever and had it on his laptop, and like the person next to him knew what it was and took like a picture of the dude's laptop, which I think is hilarious. But extremely unfortunate. I would feel awful if I was the guy on that bus.
I'm super excited. The last one was one of the most cinematic games I've ever played. On par with like an Uncharted series. And I'm going to play it. I'm going to play day one. I don't think there's much else to say than just it's a for sure bet.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of differences between this and Uncharted, but I still get those vibes. But I don't know, for some reason I'm just like,
Tomb Raider is brutal. Like, I mean, it's I was gonna say it's similar to The Last of Us, but then there's the Last of Us 2 trailer, which we'll talk about, which is the most brutal thing I've ever seen. So it's like the original Last of Us as far as brutality, and it's not.
It definitely pushes the rating, I think, of the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it's a great story, just gorgeous visuals, and it's a Laura that is much more.
I think much more human.
More human, kind of hardcore, like survival, rather than the original Tomb Raiders, which were triagonal breasts in the short shorts.
That's what we're going to, is the triagonal breast.
I thought you were, when you
That's
said
what I
that,
say about the game.
I didn't realize that you were talking about breasts. I was just like, triagonal breast of what? Like, I thought you were using that word in a different way, because I didn't. That's why I just stared at you for a second. I'm like,
triangle breasts.
oh, you mean?
I'm not making very good triangles.
Yeah.
With my hands.
Anyways, one thing that does worry me though is just like the headline here on this Kotaku article is that Tomb Raider has expanded stealth options, and that is one of the least appealing game mechanics for me ever. I hate stealth.
Did the other one rely on stealth? The one you just played?
You could play it both ways.
Yeah,
it's definitely like directed towards stealth, but you can just get a fucking machine gun or shotgun and go in there and go.
That's good. That's usually what I do in Uncharted is I kill like 2 or 3 people, and then I'm just like, I'm gonna throw a nade in there.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's how I roll. So.
You're the guy that played Splinter Cell like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Actually, Jordan, all right, you get to pick one now. You got Captain Spirit, Babylon's Fall, Just Cause 4, The Quiet Man. Any input on any of those?
I don't know. You know what? For Square for me, I'm always just like Final Fantasy. That's what for Square equals Final Fantasy. If I don't see Final Fantasy,
they're working on it.
I don't know.
That's the only update they've provided.
They did updates on.
From a while ago, it's pretty much like they had another studio working on it, took it back from that studio, and scrapped half the stuff that they were working on. Almost started from scratch.
I love the last one.
The guy that's working on Kingdom Hearts 3 is he said 100% working on Kingdom Hearts 3 and 100% working on Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Nice.
So
kudos
to you for doing 200% of work, but
we all know that if everything is critical, nothing is critical, right?
Yeah.
Why do we know that?
You know why.
Exactly. So
anyway, I'd say hard pass, go on.
Cool. Deion?
I mean, I feel the same way about Tomb Raider, Uncharted, you know what you're getting. Captain Spirit is...
It's a question mark.
So I never played. I maybe played part of the first episode of Life is Strange, so it just doesn't appeal to me. However, like I get it, and I get what that genre of game is supposed to do. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have much say for Square really.
Anything on The Quiet Man? Do you remember that trailer?
I don't really remember that trailer. So
it was pretty much a guy who approaches like 2 thugs or whatever in an alleyway, and they start yelling at him, but then he kind of like. Does he go like this?
Yeah.
And some people didn't really like get it at first. I didn't either. I thought he was about to like tell them something, but then like it goes to his perspective and like the audio changes a little bit, so you can tell that the main character is deaf.
I remember this.
He like beats the crap out of them, and then I don't remember anything else.
I think that was it. The CGI though, I remember being unreal.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
For the thugs and stuff.
It was live action. It starts as live action. It's not a cutscene. It's not like in-game or anything like that. It's not CGI. It's live action. And then when it cuts to the action is when you see the game. So it's similar to Quantum Break, how Quantum Break used like
live action
stuff.
Gameplay.
I think it was CGI.
It
does not look CGI, but it's fucking real good.
It does look.
I'm watching it right now, actually pulling it up.
Is it this one, like with the cityscape and everything? Well, this part's definitely live. Yeah.
I mean, that's...
No, I don't think it is.
I don't know.
That's real to me.
Nope. I'm pretty sure that's CGI.
Yeah, no, look at all that.
That's live. That's live. That's real.
Yeah.
That's
real.
Live action.
100%.
Yeah,
it's just that this dude's got like a lot of makeup on and high cheekbones, you know?
I love that we're having this conversation though. That like,
I mean,
is that
we're getting at that point in gaming.
Yeah, look at these 2 guys. There's no way there's that much detail. Look at the shine on this guy's jacket.
Also, the guy on the right
You'll be able to tell when it shifts.
Sorry, chat.
Look at all them zippers.
Watching us watch a video.
Okay, now
it's changed.
It's shifted.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
See, you can tell.
No, see, the thing is, I think it's CGI and shifts into the game.
No,
it shifts into other CGI.
I think it is. I think it's live.
Yeah, it's live.
Who's voting live action? Is it live action?
Yes, live action.
Live action.
I don't know. I'm Team CGI. With
and now we're back to live
Team
action.
CGI over here.
Who's Team CGI?
Developer, right here.
Woo!
He might.
Looks at code all day, not graphics.
Graphics is code.
So he sits in a room and goes, "Is that CGI or is that live action?"
So both that one and the Fall or Babylon's Fall, it's too big of a question mark and didn't show enough for me to get really interested because they both seem kind of okay. I've seen this trope before. It's either going to be Oh, where are we watching now?
This is Babylon's Fall.
Yeah,
Update for the chat.
so-
Babylon's Fall right now. Beautiful.
For me,
I'm active.
Babylon's Fall is made by Platinum Games, therefore I'm interested. That's
Okay.
all it comes down to.
For sure.
Because Platinum Games with Bayonetta, which I ended up buying the first two on Wii. I did on the Switch. I started playing it, but just based on their track record, they just make good action combat. Like, I know The Legend of Korra got shit on in reviews, and yeah, the first playthrough of it is a little rough, but man, once you go through second playthrough and you have more abilities, like, I love that game.
Gotcha.
Combat in that is awesome.
So
I don't know, I get the more For Honor feel out of that one.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. I don't know.
You're just not for honor.
So,
We'll see how it
You're
goes
unhonorable.
when they release more information. But right now, I'm just.
So I didn't actually watch Square, but my only thing
I
I
didn't
cared
either.
about, or I wanted to hear about, that wasn't there, and I think a lot of people forgot about it, is where the hell is this Avengers game? That's all I
Right.
want to know about.
Damn it, I didn't know.
Last year at
Online.
E3, we see this, I believe it was like a 10-second teaser. I can't even remember whose stage it was. And we see, the Captain's shield, we see Iron Man's mask laying there on the ground in the rubble, and it's like they're working on an Avengers game, but with nothing to see. Now, funny enough, based on what we were just talking about with setting expectations, I get it. Like, if you've got nothing to show, it's probably I would have much rather have it. But I was
But
really
they
excited.
didn't update us on it.
They
right?
didn't
They've already
update
showed
us.
something,
Yeah, they didn't
so
say anything about it.
Is
So
that the Ultimate Alliance one? Oh yeah.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So we never saw anything about it. I was really hoping to see something, but
Never mind.
there's always next year.
Never mind. Not Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
take that back. Yeah.
alright, so we'll
Meh.
end with Square there.
Square's meh.
It was just meh. Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
pretty much how
it was definitely one of the weaker ones.
So, all the games that people wanted to see, they didn't show. Platinum Games, that's exciting to me just because I really like Platinum, but even with that, Babylon's Fall, there just wasn't a lot there as CG trailer, so it's just kind of like, oh, I have something to look forward to probably next E3. They said it's a 2019 game. Cool. Ubisoft.
Yes.
Don't tell me to be soft. Deion
So
soft.
they
Ubisoft.
They say Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Even though I've corrected many people and said it's Ubisoft, it turns out I'm wrong. So they start off with Just Dance. This is how they like to do it.
Best game E3 2018, hands down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I really liked their presentation. It's just like goofy. They're having fun.
Yeah.
Last year they were very personal, and like when they announced Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and the developer in the crowd is like crying because Miyamoto is acknowledging his game.
Yeah.
And then when they came out last year, announced Beyond Good and Evil, Beyond Good and Evil 2, you saw the passion there. So like, yeah, they're goofy, and like with the Trials guy, the guy for the Trials game coming out, falling on the podium, they're just out there having fun. Like
something.
It's like cringy fun.
I think
I'm okay with.
I think it's just showing the human element, and I actually appreciate that because to me it was one of the ones I actually connected to the most because it was like, yes, we know you have to show us Just Dance, but like bring out a dancing panda, and I'm still gonna be like, I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm gonna be like, yes, this is fun. Okay, cool.
Although super awkward, real quick during that dance routine. Where they go to transition from being outside into the
into the indoor auditorium.
They zoom in on the woman and like they zoom into her stomach so that's like it's like black screen and then they zoom out and it's like, oh, now they're here. It was so weird because it was kind of a slow zoom. I'm like, why are they zooming in on? What is happening? It just like I thought it was gonna get real inappropriate for a
We're just
second.
gonna go right to Death Stranding.
Yeah, right.
The baby.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Just Dance is coming to the Wii?
Yes, it is. Releasing a not Wii U,
The
Wii game.
Wii.
Yes.
The original Wii.
That's where
that
Just
market
Dance
is
sold.
Yeah,
Like incredibly well.
I have it in the other room. I've never played it, but my girlfriend has. So that blew me away.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
And that's why they show it.
Yeah.
It reaches a completely different audience,
for
you
sure.
know. So
Say no, nobody bought the.
You got to diversify your portfolio, people.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
stocks and bonds and shit.
so anyways, good conference. Then they go to Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Has anybody played the first one?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay.
I think
I haven't either.
It's a cult classic. Like
Right.
people love it. That was one of the few games on GameCube that I was paying attention to and didn't pick up because the GameCube era was when I got my first job, and literally all my money was on like action figures and GameCube games. Like I was the Easy Allies have this phrase that I really love: swimming in sevens. Where it's just like they're playing a bunch of 7 out of 10 games, and it's great.
Yeah.
And the GameCube had so many 7 out of 10 games like iNinja, Metal Arms with Glitch in the System, just like Cubivore, all these weird games that I love.
It's in the new Jurassic World spoiler. Cubivore. It's at the end.
And Beyond Good and Evil to me looked like an average game that I would really enjoy, or slightly above average, but not like fantastic.
Right.
But it was just like one of the few that I didn't end up picking up.
Chris is stoked on sevens.
Dude,
Swimming in sevens, man.
the trailer looks
I'm
great.
spamming it in the chat right
one
now.
of the best trailers of
This
E3.
trailer was
Yeah.
great. The one last year was great as well.
Completely different tones though.
Yes. Different
Yeah.
tones.
Yeah.
Last year was very upbeat and
Yeah.
just like goofy, you
This
know.
is super dark.
Yeah, this was dark. People dying.
Yeah.
You know, very interesting.
I think the whole
keep it
thing
fresh.
with them kind of announcing at the very end, bringing Joseph Gordon-Levitt on stage, they're like, so this was, speaking of, I guess, worries, this is one of my worries with it, is that they're basically going to try to crowdsource the assets for the game, which tells me, boy, we might have some hiccups along the way.
Real quick though, specifically what they're looking for is like billboards,
Sure.
songs or commercials or weird things you'll hear on a radio as you're like walking
Right.
by a radio.
Yeah.
A lot of people misunderstood that when they first announced it. They
Right.
thought
Saying, like,
they
main
thought a
assets and
lot.
stuff.
They thought they were asking for a lot
Right.
more, like
Yeah.
the OST, like the soundtrack to the
Right.
game. But this is all like
Yeah.
background things you're gonna see because
That's
they
awesome.
expect their world to be huge.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
to be clear on
Huge.
that, because I think a lot of people were confused, but there still is a lot of questions about is that a good business practice or not.
The fact that everybody's getting paid for it too, though, is really
Yes.
cool, and I think that's an awesome.
And that was something that they actually missed on stage,
Yeah.
So a lot of
Oh,
people
not
that came in the
highlight that.
aftermath are like, wait, are we giving these assets for free? And I was like, no, that's
Yeah.
not the intention at all. You're actually going to get paid for any asset that you make and we utilize in the game.
I wonder if that was intentional or not, though. Like, just to
Just give
hey,
it to us for free.
people who are interested will find out that you're
Sure.
going to get paid for it, as
Yeah.
opposed to someone who doesn't give a shit about this game.
That's a good point.
Like thinking like, oh, this is a great way for me to get money. Like I don't really care about this game at all,
Yeah.
but they'll pay me for my art. So I think
Yeah,
I just can't
it could
really
be.
tell if it was intentional or not the way they did that. But I have seen other people who are just completely against this. They say that this is normally something you hire someone for and you pay them a full salary for, multiple people that you hire to do this and pay full salaries for. Some people see this as a way of saving money.
They took our jobs.
Yeah,
I
some
think
people see it that way.
yeah.
And other people see it as like, well, you're building. There's also going to be people whose stuff doesn't get in the game, so you're spending a lot of time trying to get your stuff into a game instead of like, hey, here's my portfolio. Would you like to hire me to do the rest?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there is some backlash to this. I don't agree with most of it. Like, I think it's just an exciting way to get fans involved. Like, clearly they're gonna have, like, this team is gonna be huge. They have a lot of things they are paying people for. There's, the soundtrack and just environments, things like that. It's just, hey, we need a little bit of extra help. Would you guys like to contribute? So I'm not against it at all. Just wanted to bring up the concerns of other people.
I'm excited, but I think this is another one of those cases where it's clear this game is super early in development.
Oh, yeah.
And we're probably looking at least at another 3 years out. Like, guaranteed that there's
Yeah, I
no way
can
this
agree
game
with
is
that.
going to be finished anytime sooner than that.
3?
I think
possibly.
so.
So I mean, what they have shown is like a tech demo, and it's really like, here's the scale of the ship, and they take like one of the characters with
This is a very ambitious game. What they want to do with it.
There's a lot to.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're using this sort of crowdsourcing platform to say, hey, we clearly know there's a lot going into this game.
Yeah.
Our teams can't do it all by themselves. Help us.
Right. I mean, it'll speed up the process, you know.
But I also think that it increases like the investment. If you're really someone who's really into this franchise, man, like, and you want to contribute by providing an asset, you're like you do music or you do animation or something, you want to assist with this, your investment long term into this game is just going to grow over time. Which means when the game finally releases, you're going to be just so ready for it to come out, right?
Yeah.
So exciting, but I think another one of those titles that's really far out.
Yeah, I think it's a unique idea too.
And
have you guys
Space
heard?
Pirates.
Have you guys heard of Hit Record before? Joseph Gordon-Levitt's company.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot where I heard of it, but I did see it a long time ago, and it was pretty interesting. So they crowdsource everything. It's people just collaborating on projects. So I saw like a song they created, like a music video they created, which was cool. You know, it was just everyone had to sing the song, and then they all had to, you know, do like the bass line and things like that, and then they just cut to hundreds of people singing this one song, which was pretty cool. So I think his company's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess as a counter argument to the whole backlash with this crowdfunding thing, like when you think about it, what about these games that create a tool set? Like Little Big Planet. Like Little Big Planet is creating a game for you to play, but without the aspect of playing other people's levels, the game isn't like a full. It's not what people see it as this huge thing. But if that wasn't in it, if it wasn't people interacting with the game and creating things, then it would be a lesser title, and people wouldn't remember it as great. Think about
the Fallout game without mods. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Skyrim without mods. When it came out, great. But the only reason why people play Skyrim and I continue to play Skyrim is because you can download 40,000 mods and make it look like a next gen, not even current gen, next gen game.
Yeah.
If you really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Little Big Planet, I was impressed with the level design for the main story and everything like that, but when you go into the modding community and what the actual player created levels, it's insane.
Oh yeah,
the talent out there.
Or even Mario Maker, you know?
Yeah.
They had like 100-something levels.
And sadistic.
It's
the insane things that I've seen on there.
Which is funny too, because like I think the other one was going to be Dreams, right? Dreams from Media Molecule.
Yeah.
It's literally that idea. It's this game that you can't really describe to people because you're like, well, you're building your own dreams and you're building these experiences. You can make games within it. It's hard to pitch to people as a game. It's just kind of like.
And originally, there wasn't much that they talked about as far as what they were creating themselves.
Yeah.
It was almost like, oh, we're going to get a snippet of a single-player experience, and then the rest of it is just created by everyone else, which I can understand a little bit of backlash there, because it's like, oh, I buy the game, and if no one's creating stuff because I'm bad at creating stuff, like, I don't have much to play for the first week or so, you know? Right. But they did say that they are building I think it was like 6-hour experience. Like, I'm not 100% sure on that, but there is an experience in there. But with Beyond Good and Evil, they're creating this huge game, and all they're asking for is some art assets.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever, I'm totally cool with it. So we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the ending question real quick is like, none of us have played the first one.
No. And I would imagine a majority of gamers haven't.
I would imagine so,
yeah. Well, they're doing this for the people who have been begging for it.
They have.
Because there is that audience for it.
I'd be interested to know how many copies that game sold on the GameCube.
7.
Not a ton from what I remember. There was an HD remaster, I believe, that went to Xbox. I'm not 100% sure. I would have to double check that. But yeah, I would say 5% of the people who will buy this played the first one and have been begging for it.
Right, sure.
Like, because it's been so long, this game now appeals to many more people.
Yeah, I mean, they released a trailer in 2008 of some of the characters too.
Yeah.
I just recently watched one where it's like, here's that in 2008, and this is what these new trailers look like now.
And I haven't seen it since then, so
Wow.
I don't remember anything about that trailer.
Yeah.
Then we got the Trials guy coming out,
Those games
breaking the podium.
Those games are I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're like looks like some goofy fun.
Those Trials games are fun. Same type of deal where you know what type of gameplay you're getting, when you play those games. So
Yeah.
Talking about Trials Fusion?
Yeah.
That's on PS Plus for free right now?
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yeah.
I downloaded it. I played 3 levels.
It's whatever.
Trials Rising is going to be that with better graphics.
Like, this would be a fun game that I would keep busy, keep myself busy with on a plane. Just like playing through levels.
A perfect companion to your Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Those games typically have.
Is it coming out to Nintendo?
Good multiplayer.
It is. Yep.
It is.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All consoles and PC.
Yeah.
And beta very soon, actually, too.
Can't see myself playing it on anything else. Unless it's on PlayStation Plus, which is free, which I just...
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. Any cross-platform game that is PS4 and Switch, I'm usually going to lean towards PS4 because I want trophies. And
fair. That's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really is a long discussion. I gotta...
Yeah, anyway. Okay, so Trials.
Real hot. So hot.
Division 2.
Woo!
This is
I'm very young, Tom.
your guys' game. So
count me out.
I'm
tapping out.
Super excited about this. Probably one of the most exciting announcements, I think, for me personally out of E3. Played the Division 1. Probably have close to like 300 hours on that game.
Damn, do you really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Played a lot of it. The game definitely started out very, very shaky. I think the biggest feedback that the community gave initially was like, okay, this is a really cool game. It has a great story. Unfortunately, once you get to the end game, there was barely anything for you to do, right? Yep. And it's that gameplay loop of like, how are you going to keep me to come back to this game on day in, day out?
And that's where I stopped on Division 1.
Right.
And I played next level and whatever.
Played with both Deion and John on that.
thank you.
I think the environment, the premise of Division 2, going from New York City, Washington, essentially the center of all power, as the director has sort of on the game has kind of mentioned, that is really exciting to me. Getting to see a 1-to-1 of DC, like, that's exciting to me. And the biggest thing is seeing that they listen to the community on this game. Like, they clearly, from everything that we've seen, from all the interviews, I try to level my expectations nowadays with games because burned so many times.
Because Destiny 2.
Because Destiny 2, yes, mainly because of Destiny 2. But honestly,
we all got ours.
Yeah. But honestly, though, I really do have high expectations for this. I am signed up for the beta already, so I'm excited to see. The beta does not require pre-order,
which was cool.
Which was great.
Yeah, I immediately did it. Both platforms. Yeah.
And, speaking of season passes, no season pass this time around. They are giving all the post-launch content to everybody for free, which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, there's just so much to look forward to. I think in a lot of ways this is the same game with just a lot of embellishments and kind of moving the systems forward that really need attention. I don't know, Deion, do you have any thoughts on it?
So I'm gonna play like devil's advocate a little bit.
Sure.
Ooh, switch it up.
It's not that.
Not that
Go
much
hard.
level.
Go hard in the paint.
I hate this game.
Fight. The viewers want to see a fight.
I think when you look at this, right, definitely right. Like Division 1 from launch compared to what it is now, completely different.
Yeah.
And they've done such a good job at changing that game aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I do think though when you look at Division 2 that if you were not a major fan, but if you didn't like, it's not like when you look at Division 2 that you're going to get a completely different gameplay than you did for Division 1. You know what I mean? Like, it does look like they took the end of what Division 1 was. Yeah, it's like you take the end of what Division 1 is, you add enhancements to it, you change the environment and some other things, and now you have Division 2. So I don't think it's this new game where like, oh, I didn't like Division 1 at all, and now I'm going to love Division 2. Mm-hmm. They're very similar in that regard. So.
I think I'm going to play it, but I also got that same feeling where it's more of it's Division 1 with all the fixes.
Division 2 still divided.
It's
just keep
it
eating
looks
this, okay?
honestly.
Don't touch my nuts, Deion. Technically, they're John nuts, and not me getting them.
Nice.
So
we don't know what to do with you now.
Can't wait
I
for
feel
YouTube
like
to see
it's
that.
more of Division 1.5.
Yeah.
Because it looks like very similar to Division. They fixed the bugs, which
Sure.
it looks like the gameplay looks great. I'm still a little skeptical because I remember the Division gameplay at E3 looking amazing and being different.
Yeah.
In a new environment, which I think is a great, environment.
Washington now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was
in
New
DC,
York
Yes.
before?
New York
It was
previously.
like winter New York.
So now you get to take off your winter gear. You can maybe wear like a tank top.
You can wear shorts.
Ooh.
Shorts.
You
You
can
can wear
do
shorts.
parkour.
Parkour
Yes.
in shorts.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Parkour and heavy gear, winter gear.
Nice.
So don't get me wrong. I'm excited. I think I'm for sure going to play it,
But tempering your expectations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be radically different
or
or even radically improved, but improved enough where I'm going to spend hours. I'm not going to probably spend 300 hours, but I'll 50, 60 hours playing online. But
I think what it is, though, is that the reason I'm excited about this game is, we've talked a lot of Destiny 2 here a bit, is that coming from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, a lot of people were burned because it was like, this is not even the same game that we had in the first one. And to me, that's not what a sequel is supposed to do. What a sequel is supposed to do is to take on everything that you've done right in the original game and simply enhance it and add to it on top of it. And that's what excites me about this game, is that it's not changing the Division formula, which is what made that game a cover-based shooter really great. It's just enhancing that. And that's what excites me, is that it's not taking content out of the game, it's adding on to existing content in the game.
I agree.
So,
and I think they're going to focus on, they know endgame is so important too.
Raids. We finally get raids.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about this. 8-player raids.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I was still blown away that wasn't in regular Division. Because it was
I mean, we got incursions, which was close, but it was still only, incursion was 4 player? I thought it was 6. It's hard for me to remember nowadays.
Yeah.
But still, generally excited about that game. Can't wait to see more.
Nice. Next, something I'm excited for. Finally. No, I'm just kidding.
Finally.
We gotta get through all your guys' conferences to get to my conferences,
Are we talking about the musical intro?
Ugh.
Are we even going to talk about which one we're talking about?
So, we're talking about Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Donkey Kong DLC. So, last year, after I played Mario Odyssey, I would have said, that was probably my game of the year. It's actually Mario plus Rabbids.
You like the
looking back
bouncers?
on it, I love this game.
Sean, pass me the nuts.
I love strategy RPGs.
Put his nuts in there.
And pretty much from Nintendo, that just means Fire Emblem. So having this, it's Ubisoft, but with the Nintendo characters and charm. So I absolutely love this game. I did most of the extra stuff, not all of it, and I've been waiting for DLC for it. So super excited for this. But yes, that intro to it was let's do a musical number, which was okay. But again, same thing I said with Bethesda, with Andrew WK. Show gameplay while you're doing that. This is what...
It blows me away. And it happens on PlayStation too. Granted, PlayStation, I think, would be harder to show those over the music, but the same premise of separate musical numbers without gameplay just blows my mind when you have that at E3. It was the trend.
You're ruining the hype and you're slowing down the pace of your conference. I don't understand it. And Sony has done better before. Again, I watched the 2016 Sony conference. They had the orchestra playing music. Now they started with the God of War music, just that. But it was ominous and just it set as kind of like a scary tone.
It was a reveal,
you're like, oh shit. And then it goes into God of War. And then for the rest of the evening, as they were playing music, is when they were showing games and then the orchestra was playing music the whole time.
That's the way to do
which
it.
is perfect. It was great. And that was one of their best conferences ever. So this was a bit silly. It also took them an awkward amount of time to clear the stage with all the instruments. But besides that, I'm looking forward to the Donkey Kong DLC. Looking at it right now, I did not realize it is out in 2 days. So I need to...
So, Chris will not be at work on
June
Tuesday.
26th for the YouTube that comes out later.
So I'm
I
super
love the
excited for
Rabbids.
that.
It was. I got it kind of just because I wanted more Switch games and started playing it, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say I was waiting for the DLC by any means, but like this is just added content that I'm excited for.
Yeah, I think it is paid DLC, but I'm cool with that. Because you can tell that if this came out a month or two after the game, I might be a little burned by that. But they've been working on this since the game came out. Game came out in August, so
almost
pretty close to a year later is when you're getting your DLC. So I'm like, all right, you sold me a full game, now give me an extra little bit. I'm all down with that.
So will this be free?
No,
paid. That's what I was just
it is paid. Sorry.
Listen.
I was just saying.
Why don't you listen when he talks, Andrew?
I was distracted because Donkey Kong was right in front of me.
Trust me.
Are you
I've been zoned out half this conversation.
$29.99.
Fallout talk and all. $29.99. Goddamn. All right.
Maybe that's the.
Wow, I'll really be interested. Are they selling? I would think maybe selling the game at this point with like the DLC for $29.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm seeing.
That's really pricey for a DLC. $29.99. Jeez.
Yeah. Even though this is.
Let me take that back. I might need to.
You're a liar.
I think that's a combo.
You're a liar.
Let me just see.
It's fine. It's no big deal.
That makes sense for a combo.
Each own nuts, John.
Post in the
Yeah,
comments.
but I don't think the game has dropped in price very much.
Well, Nintendo's kind of
It's a Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it was only 30.
Even though it's a Ubisoft game, with Nintendo characters, like Nintendo almost never drops the prices of their games.
True.
So,
Can't drop, won't drop.
Rockefeller Records.
Eh.
So, anyways, we can move on though. Skull and Bones, basically a pirate game not like a spin-off of Assassin's Creed, but they took the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and then they're like, let's expand this and turn it into a game.
So that found fast.
I loved Black Flag purely for the sailing, so this one is actually interesting to me. I played Sea of Thieves for like 3 days and got Microsoft to refund it because I said it was not what they described.
Yep.
So I was happy with the refund. Not happy with that game. So I'm meh about this game, but it's definitely something that I'll keep on my radar to play because.
Does that have online play?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go around online chatting boats and hopes, sending my boats all around the place. I can't take myself seriously.
That's fine.
I think that's the one thing I'm kind of curious with this game is how that part's going to work. Co-op.
Me sync boats and hopes.
That's easy.
Because it's individual ships.
Yeah, you have your own
rather
ship,
than like Sea of Thieves where you're running around like bailing out water and shit like that. Which it was a cool idea, but like it was a ship with like 4 people on it max. So this is like a full galleon, which I'm more excited about.
So like I said, this is Ubisoft Singapore, I believe. So it's the same team that did all the water and the boats in Black Flag, and they're actually the same team that's doing the water and boats in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which takes place in ancient Greece. And to me, I feel like that's the conflict. Like I don't remember if we got a release date for this game yet. I know they're going into beta soon. That's going to be tricky.
For Skull and Bones?
Right, that's going to be tricky because you got
18
of this year.
So. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a little bit of conflict, right? You're going to be like, well, do I want a full Assassin's Creed game plus this sailing and blowing ships up, or do I want to go buy this separate game just to do that?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm touching to what the online is, right? So maybe
it has to be unique enough, right?
Because honestly, you're getting a story, right? That's part of that. But like if this is boats, but it's more online play, more like customizing my own ships and stuff like that.
Shut up.
Oh,
60% boats. 40% hopes.
I was wrong. 2019.
Okay. That's good.
I can't take all these lies.
Because I feel like you have a major conflict. And I would imagine that, the rumor right now is that the next Assassin's Creed will take place in feudal Japan. And if that actually does happen, we've been waiting for this for freaking a long time. So if that happens, I think we'll go away from the boats a little bit. Because we'll probably more like inland. And I think that's a good time to drop another game that is really focused on the water play and all of that.
Feudal boats.
Yeah.
Feudal boat DLC.
Anyone have interest in Transference?
Yeah, aren't you gonna
VR game?
Aren't you gonna play that nonstop?
Maybe.
No, I don't even like watching the trailer for scary games.
I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna live stream it once, and then I'll never play it again.
I'm going to watch that live stream and laugh hilarious.
Live stream will be 3 minutes long, and then I'll rip off my Vive headset and fear. And
it'll be like that live stream we did with Chris and what was the game?
We did Outlast and we did PT.
Yeah, PT. I was like P something.
No.
Yeah. They're still live on my channel. Those are like some of the only old videos that I did not private. So those are still
unabashed
public.
Advertisement right now.
PT is amazing.
Actually, I think it was the Outlast one. One of them just recently got copyright a copyright claim. Not a strike, a claim. So it's just like, hey, we're gonna throw ads on your video. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, Transference, like,
I'll check it out. It's
it looks a lot better than when they first showed it too. Much more interesting.
Yeah. It's another
than the first time they showed it.
Cool instance of seeing like Hollywood mesh with gaming. And it's VR, so
Ubisoft with that star power. They got Elijah Wood showing off Transference.
Yeah, weird.
They got
whatever.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
What do you think their budget is for that?
I think they're just missing like Shia LaBeouf. That would be like the perfect trifecta of those three.
If
Shia LaBeouf, Elijah Wood.
They made a VR game about the Cannibal song. Have you guys seen the Cannibal song?
I think I have. I didn't know.
Definitely, I'll put a link in.
Yeah, it's like running through the woods, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
If they made a VR game about that, I would fucking play that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Done.
All right, next.
What's next?
Starlink, which is a Toys to Life game, so very similar to Skylanders. Using Amiibo, things like that. It's kind of a big one.
Disney Infinity.
With a ship, and like you place different parts on the ship to upgrade your ship immediately in the game. Not very interested in it until they throw in some Star Fox.
So my question is, do you think people are gonna buy this game not on Nintendo, like without Star Fox?
No, I don't think so.
I feel like it was such a good buy, and like I can't see people
I
playing it without
zero interest until they said that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and now I'm not like, great, I can't wait for it. Now I'm just like, now I'm gonna pay attention to reviews.
Exactly.
And before I really didn't care. I'm also, and I haven't looked into it, but how much am I gonna have to spend on this Toys to Life stuff that I don't want to have in my house? Like, I'm not going to display this thing anywhere. I just don't care about that stuff. So I don't know. It depends on how much of that is involved in the actual gameplay. If you can just get away with just having that one thing, I know exactly what you're about to say about my Amiibo collection. That's different.
90% of Chris's house, Hunter x Hunter. 5% cheese buffs.
And Amiibo.
5% mattress.
All the Amiibo. So I was the same.
I just don't want more of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. Because I have a bunch of the Star Wars Disney Infinity. I collected those and shit like that. I have the game. I played it like twice.
Why though?
Those, I was gonna say Amiibos. Infinity characters are super detailed and amazing.
They're fantastic from an art direction perspective.
But I have a lot of them, and I don't need anything more like that. So. That's again where if I'm buying like one thing, it's the the Starfighter. What are their fighters called?
R-Wings.
R-Wings. If it's a single R-Wing, okay, I'll put that on. My gaming man.
I mean, and that wouldn't be bad. That would be cool. But I think the main piece you're buying to interact with the game is just like a generic ship that you clip little pieces on. So like that's not an interesting thing to display in the house. It's just like, I need this to play the game.
Yeah, right.
Whereas like Nintendo, who rarely does merchandise, that's why I jumped on the Amiibo hype train when that came out, because like they never have figurines,
right.
And like that's just my jam since I was a kid, is collecting figures.
That's fair.
So.
Also, you can see the Nintendo marketing paralysis where they show the Star Fox ship. It's got this fancy little stand to it, that place for the little figurine to go, and it's like they clearly are meaning for this to be also displayed in your home. So
we'll I'm curious if it's gonna look exactly like that though.
He said it was a prototype. The one that he handed Miyamoto.
Yeah.
That was a prototype. They show the actual.
It's the first one. Yeah.
Thing that you interact with the game with, they show that during the trailer.
Oh.
But the thing that he handed Miyamoto was kind of like a collector's edition, like,
hey,
here's this prototype we made because.
Okay, so probably nobody's is gonna look on that good of a quality level, and it's probably gonna be all plastic. Let's be real with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Look how beautiful that looks.
Yeah, that is cool, but it is just a prototype thing they made for that. So we'll move on. But yeah, I just really like that Ubisoft, even during the Wii U era, they've always been supportive of Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And yeah, they get a lot of shit for like, pumping out Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed and like having sometimes broken games and things like that. But
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Small detail.
Unity.
But all their other things like the Ubi art stuff, like Rayman, Child of Light.
Yeah.
This isn't Ubi art, but the connection with Nintendo that they have, like that's the side of the company that I love. So seeing, I will never pronounce this guy's name right, but seeing him talk with Miyamoto, seeing him talk with Miyamoto, like they're just like
just watching
a bunch
their
of fucking
interactions
goofballs having fun, they love games, So, anyways, next, For Honor.
Pass.
Yeah, it's just. I will say this: I have a lot of respect for them as a company because this game was a disaster when it first launched. There was just so many issues, whether it was from the dedicated servers end, whether it was from bugs in the game. There was just so many problems. The monetization scheme behind the game. And this is a game now that I believe in recent times, I think it has something over 10 million players playing it.
Dude,
actively.
So,
a lot of respect for them as a company, and I think this generally goes for games like Division, games like Tom Clancy's. They've just, as a company, have gone out of their way to support these games post-launch, even when they're in their worst states possible, to bring them up to a really good place. And also, I think part of this announcement was that they were doing essentially a shadow drop of. Was it a shadow drop? I can't remember.
They put the game.
They're doing a DLC. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah,
they put out the game for free for like a limited time.
Yes, so the starter edition of the game is free for PC players and on Uplay. The week of E3, which, as of our recording, has passed.
Yeah, and I went and I actually logged on to Uplay and added it to my library. So in case I ever have any interest of ever going back to it, I do have the free starter edition of the game.
Anything you want to add? I know you played a little bit of it.
Not too much though. I mean, like
we just got murked a bunch.
I think it's just it's pretty straightforward. I had fun playing it. Just no longevity was there for me, so I kind of just moved on to the next thing. But it wasn't a bad game in how it handled. And actually, combat was actually pretty intuitive in how they utilized it.
It always looked cool to me.
Yeah, definitely.
But and even this trailer for their expansion looked pretty cool. So, like you said, happy that they're supporting it, even though it was rough out the gate, and especially this long. It's been, I think, over a year since the game came out, right?
For sure.
Yeah. I think it's going on.
I can look that up real quick.
I want to say it's 2 years at this point.
Yeah, it was February 14th, 2017.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow.
Hashtag Valentine's Day launch.
That's the kind of game you want to play with your significant other.
That's for all the people without one.
So we'll go on to the big one, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Not my genre. It's all you guys.
I'm excited. Ancient Greece, Assassin's Creed. So I don't know if you guys feel differently. So Assassin's Creed, like you mentioned, was this thing that they were annually releasing. They were just kind of hitting you over the head with it every year. There was very little innovation with it. They took a break. Then they gave us Assassin's Creed Origin, based in Egypt, which I just had to play. And it's a complete 180, I think, in a sense, because this is a game that has now gone from more of an action-adventure feel, with a little bit of historical accuracy here and there, to a full-fledged RPG. Which is kind of crazy to think about, and I feel like they're just expanding on everything that they've done in Origins. We're getting actual dialogue choices in this next one, where our choices and conversations matter, just like a Bethesda game would, which is really crazy to me. So I like where the franchise is going. I think this sort of 2-year break that they took, where they said, "Hey, we're not going to release a game here," really helped them out, and so I'm excited. I'm definitely going to be picking this game up.
They were clearly working on both of these at the same time too. Origins and Odyssey. So
they did say that the two studios were working very closely in tandem. The Origin studio and the Odyssey studio.
Yeah.
I think this one is made by one of the French Ubisoft studios.
Yeah, so even though this is like a year after Origins, it's not like they're going back to their old habits. Of just like
it's a continuation of everything they built essentially in Origins. Yeah.
So Origins was very tempting to me because it was the Egypt timeline. That's always interested me, everything like that. But I still never picked it up. I'll pick it up.
Well, it came out during a time with a lot of other big games.
It was very busy.
Yeah, that's a good point. But this is the first Assassin's Creed, honestly, ever that I've been like, okay, I'll actually probably pick this up on launch because it looks like, to your point, it's actually more of a full RPG. I mean, you've got two character choices, which it's minimal, but it's still a choice.
Yeah.
And at least they didn't show it in the trailers or anything like that. There's no fucking dumb animus, which after playing the first Assassin's Creed, I think I played the first 2 or 3, and it was just like, okay, this is...
So one thing I can tell you about that is from playing Origins is the Animus piece has completely like sort of been thrown out. Like there's a couple of bits here and there of gameplay, but really your main focus is you playing the character,
which is good. Because that was a fundamental thing that bothered me. It's like, oh my god,
it took you out of the experience, like literally.
So I played a majority of the Assassin's Creed, especially the first couple, the one through like Revelations, did some Black Flag. Unity, where it was like the co-op one. At the beginning, I did like the Animus stuff, but the storyline for that just went so far out there that it just... Because it initially started like, oh, okay, I'm in the past, I'm in the present, and then you kind of thought eventually there'd be some Assassin's Creed game where it's like futuristic or present day or whatever, and like that just kind of didn't happen, and that storyline was so far out that you're just like, I don't even care about that anymore. I just want to play the past historic stuff. So nice job.
Don't mind me.
I agree with what Anton said. Like, they needed a breath of fresh air, which they did, and Origins is kind of on another level now than it used to be. So I don't know.
Also, you're a descendant of Leonidas, and you get to Spartan kick people.
Yeah, they definitely made sure they showed the Spartan. Yeah, they definitely showed the Spartan kick for sure.
Sold.
Shout out to Spartan kicks.
Yep. All right,
you want these nuts?
No, get your nuts on.
Next was Microsoft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guess what we got left? The big
couple. We have 3 left.
Big 3.
Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony. So these are the big 3. So it only took us an hour and a half to get there.
So most likely I'm going to have to head out right after the Microsoft. So
is there anything you wanted to add on Sony or which one?
You want to do them in a different order?
Yeah, we can do them in a different order. I'm cool with that.
Well, I mean, Microsoft honestly had one of the most exciting reveals for me, which, not a Microsoft exclusive, but Cyberpunk for sure that I want to talk about. But I think in general, Microsoft kind of gave me everything that I was expecting Microsoft would give me. A new Halo game, a new Gears of War game. It felt weak to me in the sense that, like, every year, I don't think Microsoft understands what is an exclusive. They come out every single year and they're like, timed exclusive, like before every gameplay reveal. World premiere. And you're like, listen, guys, like, your marketing team needs to understand what is an exclusive, because I feel like psychologically it messes with the audience. You're like, is this... Like, you're sitting there after the post-show, you're, like, questioning which of these games is a Microsoft exclusive, because you're like, is this game... Like, is Cyberpunk 2077 only coming on the Xbox?
Yeah.
No.
But for me, it's like, even if it is an Xbox game, I know I can play it on PC. So
exactly.
Like, that whole mindset doesn't even...
Exactly, and I think that's one of the biggest flaws with that idea of, like, presenting it like that, is because you know that any of these games you're going to be able to get on your PC as well, if you're somebody who's not... doesn't own the console.
Here's the thing, though. With Microsoft's Game Pass, you're now getting a lot of their exclusives day one.
Sure.
And that's just with your monthly subscription.
Right.
Yeah, it's like so you have your Xbox Gold membership, and then it's just an addition.
It's a great program.
With the Game Pass, you can have all these games without that additional cost. And so if you're wanting to play it on PC and buy 3 games for $60 each, $180, you're spending a lot less if you just had Game Pass.
So
now you can get them quickly. So just saying that there is a reason to get them on Xbox now.
Oh no, I mean,
and that's really the only reason.
Yeah, but the benefit there though is that you just buy it once. So like, I'm probably one of the few that like I have an Xbox and I actually have the Game Pass right now, and I can play that PC game, or I can play with somebody on their Xbox on Xbox chat, but still be playing on my PC while they're playing as well in the same game. So I don't have to double dip and buy these different games that are the same game, but like for different consoles.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I will say, just in the conference as a whole, I agree with the whole world premiere, exclusive, like that stuff. But
silly.
I do like that. It's just like the benefits, though. I do like is just like, all right, we're just going to show you a shit ton of trailers and like be done with it. There's not all this side goofy shit. It's just like, here are all the game trailers. Here they are.
Which is exactly what Sony did in their 2016 that I watched this morning.
Great. Well, they learned from them.
Yeah.
And
normally, I'm not a fan of Microsoft, but they had a fucking good.
It's just straight to the point, you know.
Even if a lot of these games, like Crackdown 3 has been delayed to shit.
Hashtag be Terry Crews in a game. Amazing.
Like, the true exclusives to Microsoft were not as prominent as they made it seem in their beginning graphic. 50 games we're going to show you, 14 exclusive, things like that. Like, but they paid developers to say, hey, let us show your game at our conference.
Yes.
And Sony didn't do that, and it makes Sony look weaker.
Yes.
And I was, for once, excited about Microsoft.
Yeah.
And I have never been. Like, I still don't really care for games like Halo and Gears. It's just not my genre.
Battletoads.
That I was excited for. I was like, I really wish they just showed me a tiny bit. Just like what they look like. What does the art style look like?
Yeah.
But I'm actually pretty excited for that. To see more of that.
Dying Light, I just picked up on Steam. That's like $20 now for the extended whatever DLC pass. And I'm now more excited for Dying Light 2, having now played it a little bit.
Yeah. I think Dying Light and Metro, those are two good highlights from studios that are, their games are going to get lost in all these big conferences. But it's like we got what we expected. We got the Forza, we got the Gears of War announcements, 3 of them to be exact. We got the Halo Infinite, which, by the way, we have no idea what the hell this game is.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we just go through them real quick? Just list them all out?
Yeah.
So we got Halo Infinite.
Great way to start.
Will of the Wisps.
I just bought Ori on the summer Steam sale because I want to play this one as well.
Yeah.
I forgot how to pronounce it. Sekiro?
Sekiro.
Just
Shadow Die Twice. New game from From
2 times.
Game of the show. All right, keep going.
Fallout 76. Already talked about that a bit. The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Life is Strange.
Crackdown 3.
Hashtag Terry Crews.
Metro Exodus. Kingdom Hearts 3, the 14th trailer, but they were the first.
With Frozen.
Forza Horizon 4.
Yep. Not to be confused with Forza 5, which was in the Walmart leak.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was next. They put it as Forza 5.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Division 2, of course. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Session, which is a new
Fooled
skate
everyone.
Troll 2.
Thought it was
Troll.
Yes.
So hard.
That was funny.
Devil May Cry 5.
Yep. Devil May Cry.
I was trying to do the Sekiro. Cuphead expansion.
Bought Cuphead in the Steam Summer Sale.
The game
play this.
I thought was going to be the longest title of any game ended up just being 2 words. Jump Force.
Jump Force. Ridiculous.
Dying Light 2. Battletoads. Just Cause 4. Gears of War 5. Then the other whatever Gears ones. And then fucking Cyberpunk.
Can we just start with that?
Cyberpunk?
Can we just start with Cyberpunk?
Can we just talk about Cyberpunk?
Can we? Because we probably could talk for like 4 or 5 hours about that game.
Yeah, let's not cover every game.
Yeah, that's way too many games.
Yeah.
Credit to Microsoft.
Yeah.
Too many games.
There's one thing
It's
I want to say about
good
Halo,
problem.
but we can talk about Cyberpunk first. I don't care. We don't have to talk.
First off, let's talk about how they revealed it. I honestly think one of the best reveals at an E3 conference, period.
Yeah.
Cutting off Phil Spencer near the end of the conference like somebody's hacking the system.
I felt for that. I fell for it. Like for 4 or 5 seconds, I was like, man, the fucking audio's all messed up right there. And then, like, once the screen started, I was like, oh, I see what they're doing.
So going into this press conference, there was one game and I wanted to see, and that was this game, right? I knew when they announced that they were going to be when CD Projekt announced that they were going to be at E3, I knew this game was going to be on the Microsoft stage.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at Michelle and I was like, it's not here. It's not here. It's not here. Yep. And all of a sudden, the glitch happened. Like, and I'm like, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And I can't tell you guys how, like, this game, just from the trailer, blew any expectation that I might have had for it. Yeah. And that's without even seeing what the gameplay looks like. I don't know. What did you think?
I mean, there's really not much to add to that, right? It's just looked amazing. Great way to kind of have that intro and do the hacking into the trailer. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. CD Projekt Red too. I mean, they literally say we're not giving you a release date because it's going to come out when it's ready, which is refreshing to hear. Kind of like internally frustrating. Where I'm like, fuck, I just want to play it this year,
right?
But I'd rather than take their time and get it to be as good as Witcher 3, but fucking Cyberpunk.
They can do that because they're their own publisher, so they have nobody to kind of sort of lead to.
And I mean, even at the conference, they had all these professional cosplayers and the cyberpunk like outfits and everything to really make that atmosphere. Like it was, they're doing it right, and I'm so excited for them to take their time and do it right.
Yeah.
From everything that we saw from the behind closed doors, like and heard about. Everybody that was able to do it, wrote extensive articles, videos about it. This game just, I think, very positive. And I think the part that is a little weird is that it sounds like from their side, they weren't really sure how this game was going to be received. Because if you remember, the very first thing we heard after the first article hit, which I believe was from Kotaku, it was like, this game is in first person. And the internet was just like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
First person? Like... Coming from a Witcher background, you're expecting this is just going to be a third-person RPG based in a cyberpunk universe, and that to a lot of people was like, whoa, that's a completely they didn't expect them to go down that path. But to me, that's exciting. Like, especially hearing from people that played the demo or sort of watched the presentation, saying that the shooting mechanics in this game are as good if not better than FPSs out there. To me, that's mind-blowing. In an RPG, if it's going to be on this level. So
one thing that I heard was Brandon Jones from Easy Allies was talking about the demo that they got to see behind closed doors. And one thing that he said was unexpected was that, when we saw the cars and the guy at the end driving, he thought he got a GTA vibe from it.
Yeah.
And thought you're going to be driving a lot from mission to mission. And from what he said, it's much quicker than that. It's like, hey, we got to go meet up with this guy, and it's like
a cut.
Yeah, or not just a cut, but just the way he explained it is you get from point to point quickly. There isn't 2 minutes where you're just driving, listening to music to get to your mission and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't paying super attention to it just because I was like, okay, this game looks cool. I'm gonna keep looking out for more info and when it'll release, but I knew it wasn't coming out in the next 6 months or anything.
I am really fingers crossed, hoping that the reason we didn't see anything yet is that they're waiting to show more at Gamescom in July, I believe, or in August. I think is when Gamescom is. I can't even remember the dates if you want to verify, John. But I really think that Gamescom is massive. It's just as large as E3. They get hundreds of thousands of people to come out in the 4 days that Gamescom is, and there's massive announcements. I'm really hoping we get some gameplay.
This is more of a teaser.
That would really oh man, I'm just ready for this game. I know it's probably still a couple of years out, knowing CD Projekt. They do want to perfect this game, but it's the universe of it, the vibe of it, the music, the tone, everything about it just speaks to me. Super excited.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Halo?
Oh, Halo. Yeah. There's just one thing I wanted to talk about with that.
There's not infinite things.
It's another Halo.
It's not an infinite number of things. One kind of theory that I'm fighting off another YouTuber, Level Cap.
Do Crackdown after this. I'm ready to rush.
No one wants to
talk about
Don't talk about the games I care about.
No one wants to talk about
here.
Crackdown.
He cares about Crackdown?
No, he doesn't care about Crackdown.
No, I said talk about that next while I'm not here.
No one wants to talk about
Let me get a BLT on rye mayonnaise.
I'll talk about
Lettuce.
Checkers. Sorry, Halo, Infinite Things.
So there's like this theory, right, that the original Halo game was meant to be, this isn't really a theory, but the original Halo game was meant to be more of an open world game. And so when you look at the original trailer of Halo, they do show animals and like all that type of stuff, like more scenery. Like that's what the game was for, really for Mac. Before Microsoft took it and changed it to what it was. So some theories behind that are that this is kind of going more towards what that was meant to be. So there's still a lot to, we only could tell what we saw from the trailer, but I just thought that was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
And if they are doing something more like that, it would be awesome.
So do you think that it could be some sort of like shared world type game?
Some shared world, or something like that, or something just a little less, straight linear.
Sure.
I think they're really trying to.
And I only played like the original Halo on the original Xbox, and the one thing the vibe that I got from this trailer is that before they pull in, you finally see Master Chief holding his helmet. It's actually really hard to tell what kind of game this is. I kept trying to guess. I'm like, what is this? Is this some new franchise?
It looks survival-esque.
I don't want to make any speculations now, but I did get the vibe that this felt very much like the original Halo, like just from the trailer itself. So, be interesting to see what they can do with that, and will we get this on PC on day one?
Yeah, we'd better. At this point, when Microsoft doesn't release something on PC day one, it's just why?
I think they did that for Gears though, so I think
to push Xbox.
I think that's what their focus is.
Yeah, but
sell some consoles, because this is one of those games that people buy consoles for.
Yeah,
right?
but they've already made their focus to say, okay, our exclusives will be on PC as well.
Right.
So like they're already making that connection.
I don't think it affects it honestly, because I feel like the people that are playing on Xbox, it's probably because for the majority of them is because they can't afford a high level PC, right? Like a high end PC. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, most
right. You're getting essentially the high end PC experience on a console, and I don't think it's going to affect the bottom line is what I'm getting at in general. So, but overall, I think
infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities is what this game is. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gamescom, I think it's going to be interesting to see how many of these games that we saw so far at E3 will we see more of them at Gamescom.
If we see another fucking different Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer,
there's probably going to be a German dubbed Kingdom Hearts trailer just for the audiences there, for sure.
Anyway, now that we talked about all the games Chris cares about, let's move on to the next conference.
Anything else you want to talk about here, or Shadows Die Twice? What's it called?
From Microsoft in general?
Yeah.
Yes. Ori the Blind Forest. This game looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
I don't think this originally released on PC. I think if this was originally an Xbox exclusive, the first game, because I've wanted to play this for so long, and then when this was announced, and it made me think.
I believe you're right, by the way.
Because I was almost positive, because I wanted to play this game so bad, and I didn't have a way to play it. There's really only a couple Xbox games I've always wanted to play. Another one of them, Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
And now there's rumors that is coming to PC as well.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Classic.
So that's why I tuned into this conference and was excited, because I know now it's like every Xbox game also on PC. And now that I have a PC that can play games, I'm all about Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I was curious for Shadows Die Twice, right? If people... Like, what do you guys think about that? Because that is essentially... It's from Bloodborne and Dark Souls, from software. But
so it would be impossible to beat.
What do you think about Neo 2 and, like... Right, so we're going to have Neo 2,
so
we're going to have this.
That got an announcement, which is great. So this was... There's two games I wanted to see at E3 this year. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Because I love Bloodborne. That was my intro to From Software. I platinumed that game, did the DLC, loved every bit of it. Once Dark Souls Remastered got announced, I was like, okay, great. That's because I have a hard time going backwards in a series. So, like, I was not going to play Dark Souls. Just the aesthetic of it, too, is so much different than Bloodborne. I didn't think I'd be interested. I'm now playing Dark Souls Remastered, and I really like that game. Not as much as Bloodborne, but it's still really good. And so after E3, I bought Dark Souls 3 because they had like an E3 sale that week on PlayStation Store.
Oh, right.
And I bought Neo because I was like, I wanted to play Neo. It came out again during a time I was playing other games. So I skipped it. So I was like, sweet, Dark Souls 3, Neo, got those for $40 total, both Deluxe Edition and whatever Neo calls its Special Edition. So I'm ready for Neo 2, Sekiro. All we got from the first time we actually saw it, it said world premiere before it showed this game.
Yeah.
We got a teaser at the Game Awards last year. So I thought it was the PlayStation Experience or E3 last year. It was the Game Awards that showed the first teaser of it. And all it was a close-up of this prosthetic arm that he has. And the wire around it is like covered in blood. So it was a very tricky trailer because everyone thought that was a weapon. But even though it had a bone on it, everyone thought this is a weapon. But it's the main character's prosthetic arm. Similar to Bloodborne, this is going to be your trick weapon, where you're connecting different things to it. So in the trailer,
like the grapple hook, right?
Yep, you see the grappling hook. When one of the enemies with the horse is coming toward him, you see him throw like firecrackers on the ground.
Yeah.
That came from it, as well as what looked like an umbrella shield thing that came out of his prosthetic arm to block attacks. So everything about this game is just like taking From Software games to another level. Just like the way that you're traversing with that grappling hook is so much faster and different than Bloodborne and Dark Souls, where there is there is a jump button, but it's only to like launch yourself and like to roll. And this, as you said earlier, for Anthem, the verticality of this game is what's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And also just the combat looks different. They're taking some of the things that are staples in Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne, like, death plays a huge part in it, but in those games it's collecting souls, using those to level up, and making sure you don't die, so that you can use those to level up. And here it's like you can instantly revive, and they're taking out actually several of those RPG mechanics of leveling up, so it is more about skill than just buffing your character and grinding so that you can get through the challenge.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that mechanic goes.
I'm excited for it.
Definitely goes away from most type of.
It seems much more like agile, like you said, and fast paced. Like when you have a running around in any of the From Software games with your sword and armor, you feel this weight to your character on the ground. Like you're like, okay, I can understand why I'm moving really, really slow.
Yeah.
But then like, when I compare it to like a game like Neo, right, where he's like the super agile character, it's good to finally see them moving towards that direction as well, where they're like your movement, your pacing between sort of fight to fight feels like it's a lot faster, and so there's not a dead time there in between. So that's kind of exciting.
Oh yeah.
Do you think these two games can coexist with one another without instant comparison, or just like really picking one over the other?
Which
Neo 2 and
yeah, I think so.
Shadows, yeah.
Because there are still some core concepts that Neo did not take from this. It's kind of become a genre, Souls-like.
Right.
But they didn't. With Neo, I mean, I haven't played it, but from what I've heard is that it is more like just levels that you go through. Whereas a big draw to Souls games is that they are just a huge connected map.
Gotcha.
I guess that was one of the pain points of like Dark Souls 2, why that's kind of like the shunned game of the series, because it didn't include that huge connected map. But I haven't played Dark Souls 2, so I'm not 100% sure on how accurate that is. But
Darker Souls.
With Neo, there is a stamina system, but just the combat in general feels different.
Yeah.
It's mostly just it's compared to Bloodborne a lot, just because of the fast-paced action and the difficulty, and some other similar aspects as far as the weapons and things you're using. But from what I heard, combat feels completely different. But we are getting a lot of samurai games this year. We saw a lot of them. So we've got Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Super excited. Oh, and by the way, character models still look like ass. The enemies look great, but where the little girl, I guess you're protecting, they show her face and she looks like she's made of plastic. I think I saw characters' mouths moving in this, which is nice because characters' mouths don't move in any of the Souls game, except for they have one Cheshire Cat character whose mouth moves. It's stupid, but this was the game I wanted to see, and it blew away expectations. I thought we might get Bloodborne 2. I'm glad we did it. Down the road, I'd still love to see Bloodborne 2, but if From Software only made new IP from now on without sequels, I'm totally happy with that because they've proven, I think...
They've proven the model of the genre.
Yeah, or they've just proven that their studio knows what they're doing and they're creative. And even though if they start from scratch, they're still going to give you something that you're going to like. They've actually... This is the one of 3 games that were shown from Software at E3. The other is a VR game that is not like anything you'd expect from them.
That weird one that we got at the end of the PlayStation 4 post conference.
Yeah, it's Della
Scene or something. Something
like
really
that.
Weird. Yeah.
So it's you would have no idea it's a From Software game.
We have no idea what the hell it is in general.
It seemed very walking simulator-ish, mystery, but who knows yet? It's still early. The other game, I put this in the Discord just because I wanted to read you guys the description. This is a game called Metal Wolf Chaos, and it was released in only Japan years and years ago. I don't have the exact year. 2004, only in Japan. And this is a From Software game. It's now getting a remastered version for Xbox. So, in Metal Wolf Chaos, players take control of United States President Michael Wilson as he fights a massive battle against forces led by his running mate, Richard Hawke. Instead of hiding in a bunker, Michael hops in the cockpit of Metal Wolf, the presidential assault mech.
This is a Game of the Year E3 for me.
You can go to MechAmericaGreatAgain.com.
Oh my
God dang it.
That's number one, genius marketing. That's the only time a play on that phrase has been funny. And
That's
2,
fair.
this is just the batshit crazy kind of concept that I enjoy. This reminds me of something that Suda51 would come up with. Lollipop Chainsaw, No More Heroes, Killer 7, all that. With a little mix of Kojima, Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got a punk rock vibe that I'm
It's
all
insane,
about.
and I like it.
Yeah, it's just intentionally stupid. And I'm sure, I'm on board. Just tell me when it's out, and I'll check it out. So 3 From Software games, totally happy with that. Now I can finally close that tab.
I just want to throw it out
Description
there. My camera hookup for better quality and my lighting just got here, so
we'll start over.
great timing.
All right.
I think
wrap it up.
These two are probably going to peace out anyway, right?
Why, you don't like me?
I don't like you.
I'm hanging out with you.
You're nuts and everything.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So we could break and then come back, and then it could just be the triple threat.
I mean, we've gone this far. I think we should just finish
That's fair.
this setup. Otherwise, it's going to take another
I'm
30
good
to
with
40
that.
minutes.
I was more of saying for next time. Now we're all set.
Cool.
Yeah, bitch, ain't that Robo Chris?
Before you
That
go,
was your first mistake.
Microsoft, which we didn't talk about, buying studios.
acquiring
studios.
I think I missed that one. Who did
It's
they buy?
crazy. So they bought. Acquisitions include the State of Decay makers Undead Labs, Forza Horizon Studio, Playground Games.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory, the company that made Hellblade, as well as Compulsion Games, which they are currently making We Happy Few.
Microsoft's
telling you, they're making some moves out here.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think
like,
this is
gaming and non-gaming, and Microsoft's fucking going hard right now.
Yeah, I think this is basically them making a statement that says we're preparing for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think you're going to see the fruits of any of this in this generation, unfortunately. Right. But come next gen, in another 3 to 4 years, I think that's where you're going to see some of this come out on on day one when they announce whatever the Xbox X2 or whatever it's going to be. But it's cool. It's cool to see them investing in all these studios. It's about time. They're trying to get caught up to where Sony is with the first parties. So I think it just makes a lot of sense. So
big moves.
Big moves and a variety of
make it ready,
studios too.
Because that's what Microsoft did on the
Hellblade to like Forza.
That's my job.
Yeah.
It's smart on their part. People have been saying they don't have any first party games, and they've been publishing for several of these studios, but now it's like they are the part of the Microsoft family, and they're gonna have unique stuff coming down the pipeline.
Exciting stuff.
We done with Microsoft?
Done.
Cool.
Good conference though.
Oh yeah.
Much better than previous years for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Devil May Cry. Is anyone interested in that? Like I've always been interested in the series. I tried the first game. Man,
they're hard.
It was really tough, and I didn't know what
Game is hard though.
Game is hard. Game is hard. They tend to be. They remind me a lot of Bayonetta, where it's all about just your combos and how fluid you are with your moves. And I always feel like when you see those trailers, you're like, oh my god, this is like not human. How can I do this? And then you get the game in your hand, and you're
like, oh, I have to be not human.
You're just struggling to pull off like half the moves because it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
So.
But Cuphead DLC, excited for that.
Yeah.
Jump Force trailer. So, trailer got me excited. I actually did not realize the first scene was Naruto, like the statues that had fallen over. I didn't catch that until the next part where they show One Piece. And then you got Goku in there. Super hyped for the trailer. Unfortunately, the impressions were not great for the gameplay demos afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so just from what I read, it's just like very basic combat. And a lot of people just saying it's like fighting game for beginners. So that part I'm hesitant about because they do this a lot, like Jump video games that has all these Shonen Jump stars, J Stars, Victory Plus I think is the one that's on PlayStation 3, and I imported that game, and combat was kind of trash.
Gotcha.
And I was excited for it. It had Hunter x Hunter characters in it too.
No shit.
Just like every Jump character you can imagine, but it's just shallow as hell.
Gotcha.
So, but jump over to the 3DS games that they have, which are side scroll or 2D fighters, and people love those. But once they go into 3D, they just don't translate well, and they end up being shallow. So, I'm worried about this game based on those impressions. I love the setting though, where they're just like fighting in the middle of a city.
Right.
I was like, this makes no sense. But
Well, it's on Earth. It's on Earth,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting. I was like, okay, so you're taking all these characters, you're meshing them together, but then you're putting them in a realistic environment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh well, that's unique. I'll give them that.
Yeah. I like the style of it.
Definitely not my forte, but I'm curious, is this by any chance the same studio or same group that did the Dragon Ball Z Fighters?
So it's being, I believe, published by Bandai Namco, possibly developed by them as well.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but no, not by Fighter Z.
Okay.
Fighter Z is, their name begins with an a Arc system works.
Arc,
so
okay,
they did like Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
Like their forte is
fighting.
2D anime style fighters.
Sure.
So it's like, I honestly, if Arc System Works never makes an original IP again and just does license, just grabs other IPs and makes fighting games out of them, I think that would be the smartest thing they could do, because Guilty Gear, well, keep Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, but like, from what I read, Dragon Ball Fighters was like their top selling game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, because there's so many people who don't play fighting games who bought this game, including myself. I do not play fighting games.
Yeah.
Like, I like brawlers and things like that, but not like traditional fighting games. So, anyways, that's all I got on that conference.
All we got.
Just
1 hour later.
Sekido game of the show.
later.
Bye, Anton.
Huh?
Sekido, Shadows Die Twice, game of the show.
Disagree.
Do we want to go through real
Talk
quick
about
and just simply go around before I head out of what your guys' game of the show was?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do top three.
Sure.
Top three game.
Top 3 and your favorite conference.
Okay.
Fair?
I'll start.
Yeah.
Alright, so Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Just everything they showed was just like, yes, that's what I wanted, that's what I wanted, that's what I wanted, that's what I wanted. And just the fact that Ridley's in it was like a dream come true. The Sekido, Shadows Die Twice, that was like the one game, or of the two, these were the two games I wanted to see. So I was super excited about that. I really don't have a third. Like, there's a lot of other games I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
But as far as like hype, what I wanted to see, those are really the two. So things like the Donkey Kong DLC, cool, glad to have that. I'm gonna jump into Ori, and it's nice to see Ori 2 coming soon. But I think if I had to do a third, it would probably be maybe Spider-Man.
Spider-Man looks fucking great.
It's Insomniac, and I love their games. Like the Ratchet and Clank games, all about those. I love them, and I know that if I played Sunset Overdrive, like, that's my type of game. Funny thing, my friend who's in California and does like acting, voice acting and stuff, he did a commercial for Sunset Overdrive. Like,
that's cool.
He's the guy like narrating like what you're seeing on screen.
That's awesome.
It was pretty exciting, yeah. He's also done a lot of McDonald's Mighty Wings commercials. Anyways. So
tell me more about these Mighty Wings.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll give it to Spider-Man for my third. Mostly because I wasn't excited about it, and now I am.
Gotcha.
So, bam.
Favorite conference?
Favorite conference?
Or,
I think Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like, I throughout E3, I had a notepad open and I was writing down games as they were showing trailers. I'm like, yep, interested in that. Yep, okay, sweet. Let me check out that one. And then right now I wrote down all the release dates. I have them in order. Most of them came from the Microsoft conference.
Gotcha.
And I think just in general, the way that they did it, just like, hey, I'm going to talk for 30 seconds. Here's a game. Here's another game. Here's another game. Hey, I'm back. Let me tell you about, Microsoft, we care about you. We love you. Okay, here's more games. Like, they didn't waste my time. Which is good. So, as much as Nintendo showed everything I wanted in Super Smash Brothers, and it was straight games, a little too much detail.
So much detail.
And they just didn't show a lot that I expected to be there. I think Nintendo had the most missing from their conference. Like, things I was expecting that I didn't see.
Yeah.
Microsoft, I had no expectations. Sony, I expected them to show the 4 games that they showed, and they went in detail, which is great. But Nintendo, I thought, like, where's the fucking Yoshi game you showed last year?
Boom.
Where is maybe
Metroid.
a tiny bit of Metroid Prime 4?
Boom.
Fire Emblem looks okay. It's supposed to be a 2018 game. Now it's 2019 game. And they have an exclusive Shin Megami Tensei game coming out. People do Persona. supposed to have an exclusive of that, and it wasn't there either. So a lot missing there. So Microsoft wins it for
and
me.
Pokemon, the actual RPG, they didn't talk about at all.
Yeah.
I
They
was
gave a
like
date, didn't they?
mostly not expecting that.
Didn't they say February 2019? Is the date for the new one?
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are
December.
November.
Right. But the
I think it's
November.
November. The other one is next year holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's next holiday.
Or like next fall.
So this is going to be like the actual core Pokemon game that people are.
Yeah, that'll be next year. But here's the thing: last year at E3, they told us they are working on a core Pokemon game. They did not tell us about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Wondering if they pivoted something.
That game is probably taking longer.
Yeah.
And they needed something else for this year.
Right.
I mean, I don't think they just whipped together Let's Go
No,
Eevee, Let's Go
yeah.
Pikachu. But like,
that's how you make games, by the way.
I bet those were supposed to come out closer together than they are, and like that game, everyone was saying that's probably a 2018 game, and now it's a 2019 game, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not diehard Pokemon fan, and they're not going to make the Pokemon game that I want, which is an MMO, and I do like
I would love to see that.
the Pokemon Go stuff. Well, we're getting into Pokemon stuff. I answered.
Yeah.
So
top 3.
we'll get to that later.
Spider-Man.
You got my top 3. You know what I thought was missing from E3?
Got his best conference.
Best conference, Microsoft. Anton, you're next.
Top 3 games, pretty easy for me. Honestly, Starfield would have been in those top 3 if I would have seen something. Unfortunately, I just have to remove it from the top 3 because there was nothing.
Yeah.
Top 3, I think without a doubt, and I'm going to do these in no order because it's really hard for me to even categorize these in an order, honestly.
What's top 3?
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Just everything that I've seen from the onstage demo to the gameplay videos that have been released to the public.
Yeah.
This game is like my 11-year-old self is just like giggling with excitement right now.
Shooting
like,
spider
just,
web everywhere.
like just can't wait. Just gonna and everything. And there was a lot of fear, I think, after last year when we first saw like a glimpse of the game, is that like there was a lot of just quick QTEs, and it was like, ooh, is this game going to be on rails? And I think what we saw this year is that this game has a pretty high skill ceiling in terms of like your movement and the combat. There's so many ways you can play your character, and I'm super excited about this game. Also excited to finally find out what the hell that collector's edition statue is, which they came out and recently said, like, apparently you shouldn't open the statue because there's actually going to be a spoiler as to who the statue is with the game. So there's actually a note that comes with the statue that says, do not open the statue until you finish the campaign.
That's funny.
It's
there is a mystery of who the main villain is.
Yeah.
Right, so we,
in the trailer you see all the villains, and
Right.
they're like, oh, is he behind us?
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
something
guesses,
like that.
right, around like that it's a villain. I think Kotaku had like a super in-depth article about like that it is a villain.
Yeah.
So super excited about that game. The Last of Us 2. I mean, I think everybody here that has played The Last of Us just knows what this game is all about, right? Like, I don't even need to spend a lot of time talking about it. But
Why are you
this
looking
gameplay demo.
I was not as hype on it as everybody else.
This gameplay demo.
I thought it was a great game.
What's wrong with him?
It was
Yeah.
great,
What's wrong with
but
him?
like I don't put it in like my top 10 or
Yeah.
probably even top 20 of all time.
Why are you throwing disrespect like that?
It's great though.
Yeah. So
Like those
He's
are
a
the most
contrarian.
those are the most human characters that like I've ever played in a game, and I love that about it. And like I don't care too much for story in games. I cared about what was going to happen to these characters. I hate.
And it's not top 20.
I hate stealth. I hate stealth.
Okay.
I hate sneaking around. I hate when as soon as I alert one enemy, I'm practically fucked.
Yeah.
That's
And
I thought it was what
sometimes that just annoyed the shit out of me in that game.
fine. Gotcha.
I
So
thought the crafting was great though, like just enough resources.
The quick crafting and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
gameplay demo. You know, if I was on the show floor and I might have looked at Cyberpunk, I would say, and I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
regardless,
cautious.
this is one of the best gameplay presentations I have ever seen at an E3 conference, like going back in the last 10 years.
Especially the banjo in the beginning.
Yes, oh lord.
Sorry.
I have a lot of respect for the music. The talk, I'll let you guys discuss the conference itself as a whole and just the orientation of it. I wasn't a huge fan, but to me, this as just a gameplay demo was incredible. I mean, it was just. I think people are coming up online right now saying there's no way this is real because it looks so incredible. The level of detail, just the in between moments, like just of Ellie's facial reaction, the facial reaction of the mobs that you're beating up, the guys that you're meeting up. It just looks absolutely unreal. Like
even the discussions,
it's too fluid, exactly. It almost feels like a movie, like seeing it just playing out in front of you, and you're like, how am I the one that's controlling this? Because this is way too fluid to what a player would be.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get those incredible moments where she's crawling between like the shelf units in the store, and you're like, oh my god, did you just see what she did? Oh my god, she just pulled out an arrow from her shoulder, and you can see the blood just coming off of her shoulder, and the pain like and suffering in her face is just, it's incredible. I can't wait for what this game is. And I think I have to give it to Cyberpunk 2077. I didn't even see any gameplay. All I got was the trailer. I have no idea when this game is coming out, but this is now is like literally the number one most anticipated game that I have to look forward to coming E3s or any game shows coming in the future. Favorite conference? There were so many bad ones this year. It's honestly hard. It's hard.
the opposite of the question.
It is. It really is.
Bad conference.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, there was just. It's sad that there were so many bad ones. I guess this year, specifically like on Sony's end, which I'm sure you guys will touch on. But it was just felt like a chaos. Chaos was the best way I can describe it. But to me, I think for the games I care about and cater to me the most, I think Ubisoft, to me, was better of all the ones I saw this year. I think I would have given it to Bethesda, but I wanted to see more of Starfield, and I felt like spending 25 minutes on Fallout 76 and still not having a good idea of what this game is really going to be was like, okay, you spent a lot of time talking about this game, but I still didn't get everything I wanted out of it. And Ubisoft, you showed me Assassin's Creed, super excited for that game. You showed me the Division 2 sequel, super excited for that game. And yes, there was a lot of weirdness beyond Good and Evil 2. Excited for it, and I think this game is really ambitious. But I think they just show me, they catered a lot more to the games that I like and enjoy, so I'm excited for them in that sense. And it just felt like it was the most human, honestly, to me, out of all the conferences.
Yeah.
Like, I love the fact that they always bring all the developers on stage at the very end of the conference, because it's like, applaud these people, because without them, none of this would be possible. And that's exciting. The only thing I'd say is, God, I was waiting for a Splinter Cell game. Just give me Sam Fisher.
I thought they were getting them all out. And
to be like,
for it, and
Sam Fisher's gonna come down on a zip line from the ceiling, and you're like, the whole room just like, I'm waiting for them to do that. Like, it just goes dark in the whole room, and you just see green goggles just coming down from the ceiling. Like,
so
come on.
Let's make that like the third question. Like, what were you disappointed that anything wasn't there? So Splinter Cell, was there anything else you were expecting or wanted to see that like probably wasn't going to be shown, but that you wanted?
I think from them it was Splinter Cell, because I really had high expectations that we would see this game.
Yeah.
And I think it's time. Like, it's just time. That game has been out of the market for like over 10 years. Like, we need a new Splinter Cell game. I think from Square Enix, again, where's this Avengers game? Just show it to me. Show me something. Show me a teaser.
Show them the money.
I want to know what this game is about. And there was nothing this year. So I'm like, well, this game must be super far out if all you showed me was like a 10-second teaser of CG and, you don't talk about it. So
do you know about the rumored Rocksteady game?
Yes, so there was rumors that potentially some people thought it was going to be a continuation of the Batman series. Some people thought that there was going to be a Superman game, which I know like Greg from Kind of Funny was super hyped about.
Oh yeah.
And then we got nothing. So it's hard for me to like take a guess at this point. We know they've been working on something. Like,
I wasn't sure if that was like because you wanted Avengers, if you also like DC and like we're looking forward to possibly an announcement there as well.
I thought Avengers is impacted by Infinity War movie.
Yeah.
So they can't show anything. That's my speculation on that.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
I didn't.
Once
That's
next
a good
one
point.
comes out,
Yeah.
then they can reveal more information because
Maybe.
spoilers.
I feel, I agree with you.
everybody's dead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that if they're smart though, this game has to take a completely separate sort of storyline branch. Like it just cannot. Like maybe it picks up where one of the movies leaves off, and that could be why. But I think that just like the Spider-Man game, it has to be its own thing, right, for it to be successful. But overall, I think, we came for the games. We got games. For me personally, this was a great E3, regardless of all the EA cringe here and there, and just some of the unorganized mess in some of the conferences.
There have been cringier years, though.
There has been.
Like Wii Music.
Yeah.
I was thinking Xbox Connect.
Yeah.
You want to look at the bottom of my shoe, and then the
Yeah.
leg is rolling around.
I do want to mention real
not
quick.
a lot of live demo mess ups this year, which is
I do
Not
want
a
to.
lot of live demos.
I do want to mention real
True.
quick that
I'm okay with that though.
Yeah.
that since I won't be here for the Sony, but I just want to briefly touch on Ghost of Tsushima.
Sure.
That is one of the best looking games I have ever seen, ever to this day. The entire scene of him coming on the horse, just
Going through the
going through the fields, and then the gameplay of us just seeing the sword play. And I think you were talking earlier about games. How do you show a game to an audience when it's so far out and you don't want to commit to UI things? I love the fact that they didn't show any of the UI. With outside of the little sort of highlight around the characters where he's doing the stealth move, we didn't see the UI at all. So and they actually said in the post show that this was preference. We didn't want to show the UI because we wanted you to see the gameplay. But just the scene of the two samurais fighting underneath the cherry blossom tree and seeing the visual effects blowing the dynamic leaves all over the floor. I'm just I was floored, honestly. And I know Deion is probably just
that game makes me want a
pro.
Yes.
Yes.
And honestly, so did God of War.
Yeah.
And so did Monster Hunter World.
Yep.
There are so many games for Sony that make me want that.
Yeah.
When Xbox announced the Xbox One X, one of the biggest games they showed that was furthest along in development was a Minecraft game.
Yeah.
And
What's that?
people were why do we need an X for this? PlayStation Pro, Spider-Man.
PlayStation
that's
confirmed it was 4 years off. So
from their next console.
Yeah. So
Xbox
just
is
got
already
one.
talking about
I
theirs though.
Love it.
Yeah.
Xbox dropped a little nugget of info.
Yeah, they did.
And just said and as always we're looking into our next console and we're hard at work.
Yeah.
And PlayStation didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
I will say something I wanted, which I didn't get this year, and I hope maybe we'll hear something different in the next couple of months, is that I really wanted to see a price drop to the Pro. And we didn't get that at E3. I was really hoping because
that's maybe when I'll grab it then.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really wanted,
better TV anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
My TV is still 720p.
Oh Lord.
My computer monitors are 1080p. So.
Good God, man.
720?
How do you live?
I bought my TV 4 years
You want
ago.
that TV?
Chris is still
I will
using
give it to
Laserdisc.
you.
Another thing I would have loved to see, and maybe we'll see,
I was like, is that a joke?
We giving out TVs?
is a bundle of Spider-Man and a console.
That console's gonna look dope. They
I
better
want it.
fuck that
I
up.
want it because
I did
I.
not fuck that up.
The
Yeah.
God of War one was hideous.
Yeah.
Like,
There
I
was-
did not like that.
There's rumors that it's like, oh, maybe we'll get
Maybe
a red one, skin one, and maybe we'll get a black one
Yeah.
or something like that. I'm like, whatever you do, one for the Pro and one for the standard. Whatever you do, just make it look good. I'll buy it on day one, and that will be my entry into the Pro because that's I'm looking for a reason to pick up a Pro bundle. So.
I fucked up by not getting the Monster Hunter World one because now it's $1,000 on eBay.
Oh Lord.
Dude.
Holy cow.
I don't think I remember seeing
You
that
can't
one.
get peanuts caught in the throat.
I really like the God of War one. The God of War, I think they were on the right path with that
Dude,
one. It looks great.
You like the God of War one?
Really?
Ah, no. Not at all.
Okay.
Not
The Star Wars one, it's amazing. It's another Love it.
Except
I haven't opened Battlefront.
We had to get Battlefront with it.
Haven't opened it.
Here's
Trade that shit.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So,
That
dope
looks
ass
really cool.
controller for
Yeah.
one. Can't really see it there, but it's just like the
Monster
dragon.
Hunter.
Yeah.
And then,
Monster
oh
Hunter.
fuck.
It looks
cool.
it looks
That's
great.
cool.
It looks great because it doesn't stand out from like your entertainment center, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's not this glaring
That controller though.
thing. That controller's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
All right,
There's
let me.
Yeah.
Look at that
Yeah.
controller.
That's cool.
Deion.
Sexy.
All right, I'm gonna jump in on mine.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima was
Sushi.
for sure my top one.
Bunch of fish.
Um,
Around.
I mean, Anton already alluded to a lot of what I
Ghost of Sushi Mom.
Sushi.
That's what I'm gonna call it.
Sushi mom?
Sushi Mom. Yeah. It's like cooking mama. But
Yeah.
just-
You into cooking mama?
Shut up.
Let the man finish his
All right,
thoughts.
so Anton kind of alluded to pretty much everything I felt about that game. Even if that game, honestly, if it was shit, I would still probably get it. Like for the whole feudal Japan samurai era is just like what I'm really into, and just
I don't think it will be though.
No,
I
I
really
mean,
don't.
dude, the visuals of that game alone just have me taken away. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when they have the leaves falling and then
Yeah.
the fire starts, and just like the color palette and everything that they
This
have
is
in
an
that
open
game.
world game, by the way. I don't know if you
Yeah.
mentioned that.
So it's definitely Witcher vibes, but samurai, and it's just like I'm definitely with that. So that, and you know, we got the teaser before, and this was, or like, you know, small trailer, and
Yeah.
like I wanted to get more, and I got more.
Yeah, no, I
so
think-
it did it. They did a good job at like giving me more to
Mhm.
to feed off of.
I hope that they have a feature like they do in Assassin's Creed Origins that just lets you like walk around without enemies and encounters and things like that.
Yeah.
That would be great for like photo mode,
Yeah.
Yes.
just so you're not
Oh,
disturbed.
you know photo
by
mode is
things
going to be
going
on that
around.
game on day
100%.
one.
And,
Day
like,
one photo mode.
I think even though the reason Assassin's Creed did it was because like they created like really nice environments like based on Egypt, and like here it's a bit different,
Right.
but it would still be nice just to be able to walk around and not
Yeah.
worry about if there's enemies around and
Yeah.
just like fuck around in that world. And I think more games now that they're looking better and better should do that. So hopefully we get that.
Yeah.
Side note:
Sure.
$825 for the Monster Hunter World
Jeez.
PlayStation Pro on Amazon.
Cash out.
You missed out, bro.
eBay is 3 times as much.
Fuck that.
Number 2, Deion.
Number 2 would be The Last of Us 2.
Respect.
Again, I don't really need to copy paste everything Anton said, but if it wasn't Naughty Dog, I would think that they just like did a big,
I think so.
you know,
CGI.
like CGI
Yeah.
demo, because there was just too much stuff happening.
Yeah.
Even like the little things, like her like going in between like cracks in that like
Yeah.
broken down grocery store or whatever, like
Yeah.
just those little tiny things make such a difference. I'm like, shit, is this
Yeah.
like
100%.
The
I
reason
just couldn't believe
the
it.
reason I mentioned is like that this is to me one of the best gameplay demos ever is because the person that was playing that game for the recording, right, of the demo did such a great job of showcasing the different elements of the game, right? Like they show you that you can get underneath a car. They show you that you can squeeze between objects. Like the scene where she's being shot and then she stabs that chick, and then she uses her as a shield, and then she gets shot in the chest, and she pulls the air from the lady's chest and uses it. It's like, that to me is like, you know, perfection in gameplay demo, right?
Yeah,
And that's why I'm a little skeptical of how true to life that'll be when it comes
it's
out.
just the part of me though is just like
I'm hopeful, but
with like Naughty Dog though, like that's where the comfort comes in, right?
Yes.
Because if it was just some random ass studio, I'd be
If it was
like,
EA.
we're not gonna get any of that.
I'd be like, nah.
That game is
Not
not
doing
going to
that.
look anything like that.
Honestly,
actually.
and even a little bit of Ubisoft, like I'd be
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
just with how Division changed and
It's-
everything, I'd be like,
Watch Dogs and
right,
Yeah.
Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
That's a
Watch
good
Dogs
example of
is a
something
great
that
example.
completely changed.
But it's Naughty Dog.
Watch Dogs 2 was good, but that was
Yeah,
From
but
what I heard, yeah.
just remember
overshadowed by
that
Watch
first
Dogs.
Watch Dogs E3
Yeah.
thing they did to what the game ended up being.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
rough.
I didn't really have a number 3.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Oh my god! Brr, brr, brr. Like I'm excited to play it.
We all are gonna play that.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're all
Regardless,
Hell.
yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I mean, I didn't have a 3, but I don't know. I was good with most things.
Best conference.
Microsoft was actually my best conference as well. I
Well-
like Bethesda, but it was just the fact like, all right, just cut the bullshit and let me just keep showing you trailers.
Sure.
What was missing?
What was missing? I would agree. The Tom Clancy stuff, there was a lot of rumors that there would be a Splinter Cell or something. I get that technically Tom Clancy Division and Siege and stuff like that, but like we were waiting for a new one and it didn't happen, and that was surprising just because there were so many rumors that there would be a new one. So that's what it was for me.
Okay, top 3.
Starfield.
Deion. No, Starfield's in there though. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with what Anton said, but it doesn't matter. That in my number 2, which is Cyberpunk. It's like good story and the potential for greatness has just got me hyped. Okay, like I love those storylines. Okay,
how do you do that for Starfield though? I get Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But how do you do it for Starfield? Where
Bethesda
it's just like,
in space. I said this already. Okay,
top 3
Bethesda
games.
in space.
Between the top 3 games, you'll have no release dates.
It's fine. You know what? That doesn't mean that I didn't see a bunch of content that I'm excited about, right? But
I mean, and that's what E3 is about. I get it.
Right.
You know, it's like even if we don't see a date for some of these games that we really want to see a date for, it's still just the potential, right? It's the potential when you see a trailer like Cyberpunk's, or even when you see a fucking zoom out of a planet in space and then you get the Starfield logo. It's the potential of what Bethesda could do in a sci-fi universe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. 3rd is going to be Last of Us. Without going into it anymore, obviously that's it. Best conference. Oh, go Chris.
Quick question. What conference did they show Resident Evil Remake?
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why we didn't talk about it yet. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not... It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait
It's
for
not...
that.
Yeah, I figure we'll talk about that at the...
I can't play that game.
Also, that game
That's
better
fair.
be available
That's
day
too,
one.
that might be too scary for me, because that was the one as a kid.
Waiting to happen.
That was the one as a kid. I was like, nope. Walk out the room.
I
Nope.
probably still, even though it probably just looks not great nowadays. Like I still probably couldn't even go back and play the original.
Oh, it looks so.
It looks
terrifying.
scared the shit out of me.
You can't play the original because of the controls.
Yeah.
Were infuriating, which made it scarier because you couldn't look where you wanted to look.
Why isn't this doing what I wanted to do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to leave.
Yeah. Played Fatal Frame, or I shouldn't say rented Fatal Frame, and played for like 2 hours, and then I had to give up. And I gave Dan Klein the controller.
That one guy.
Edit that and
Look
post.
him up online right now.
I mean, that's
he
a pretty,
rented Fatal Frame at
pretty
one
common
point
ass name.
in Chris's kids' childhood.
Doxed. And I had to let him play the rest of it because it just scared me.
What was missing, Jordan?
Okay. I'm gonna be the nerd that says the Pokemon RPG was missing.
Yeah.
And also another shout out to what the hell is Death Stranding about still? Nobody talked about that at all, but like
because it's PlayStation.
Yeah,
I know we didn't get there yet, but like
You're a futuristic postman.
I am.
Yeah. You carry bodies, you carry...
That was what I was disappointed about. Was I was hoping there would be some sort of new trailer, kind of giving the clear image of, oh, this is what we're doing. No,
That's your fault.
You
if
got
thought you
so
were gonna
much
get
clearer.
that.
Yeah.
You got some sort of like time traveling warp demons that port you through time.
Dang it, still.
That didn't answer your question?
No, like
I feel like the game's gonna come out and we still won't know what the hell is
You will
happening.
finish
I think it's
the
probably
game.
right. I think Deion's right.
It'll look beautiful, but you'll be like, "What am I doing?"
You
As I'm
finish the
playing
game
it?
and be like, what the...
yeah. What did I just play? Anyway,
It's Testament engine, so it's the same engine that Horizon Zero Dawn was made
Which
on.
is fantastic.
So
Yeah.
we know it's going to look good. I felt like this was more of like an artistic trailer. Like it's just like it's trying to showcase like, oh, okay. Although we still got more gameplay in this one than any of the other trailers.
I feel like it was scenery and the futility is
Yeah.
what I got that was trying to convey.
Yeah.
Just like him fucking lugging a body on his back and a baby in his front. Like,
I don't know what's going on there. Favorite conference is Bethesda, so the end.
Sure.
Because I love their content. Fallout is a great IP, right? We know that they're working on Elder Scrolls 6. Awesome. I know it's going to be forever ago, but at least we know that they're finally advancing without putting Skyrim on everything. I was waiting for Skyrim to come out on my TI-83.
and they made
smart fridge.
Yeah, we didn't talk
Yeah,
about.
we can play Skyrim on the smart fridge.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Keegan.
Wait, it did come out for Alexa though.
It is real. It is real.
You saw that little joke?
It is real.
It's real though?
Yes, it's real.
No
You
shit.
can't. It's like a fun demo.
Yeah.
But
Oh my gosh.
you after the conference, you could get that on Alexa.
I need to go check my smart fridge.
Yes.
Man, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say that. Right.
Oh,
The very special edition.
One of the funniest bits,
I
for
forgot,
sure,
yeah,
from that whole press.
I just love that they made fun of it themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I love their content. I love the things that they're working on. They have great IPs, and I agree that the conference could have been better. Anton, it still was my favorite.
Yeah.
John.
Number 1, Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I'm
Knew
just
that was on the list.
so fucking pumped for that. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah.
Nice.
They did not need to go into the level of detail they went into to sell me on it. It doesn't matter. All the characters, okay, done. And rumor that there's
Slide the
more
card.
characters coming out too. I've heard.
Sorry,
Yeah.
chip and pin. Don't slide the card. Chip and pin.
Yeah, chip and pin. Come on,
you,
security.
Thank you.
So yeah, I was a little disappointed. I didn't think it'd be in December. I thought it'd be sooner than that.
I thought it would be September when their online service is launching.
Yep.
That would be the perfect reason
A
for
great
people
game,
to sign
to
up
kick it off.
for the online service. But yeah, I wasn't expecting December either.
Mario Party though comes out right around then.
Yes.
So I think that'll be the initiative. I'm gonna play this shit
Not
on Mario
interested,
Party
Chris?
I
2.
have no interest in
Really?
Wow.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah. That's
Well, we're gonna force you to buy it. So.
I played the first one. You know, I was one of those people who
Like the original
had to put
first one.
Neosporin and like a band-aid on their hand from spinning that joystick. Like I went
that shit.
ham on that game.
The Bengay.
So I'm hoping.
I played the first 3,
Yep.
and then
Yeah, to 4 or 5.
I got tired of it. One of my friends had like Mario Party 8, and it was like a completely just gimmicky version
liked it.
of Mario Party, and like
I did.
they went up
That
to
was
10.
one for Wii, right?
I don't remember.
I think so.
But I just didn't like what they
If
did
you like
to
it,
it.
it's the gimmicky one.
It looks like they toned it down and brought it back to its roots.
Okay.
But like, I played it. It was fun. I also have a hard time investing in where if the core of a game is local multiplayer,
Right.
I'm almost always out.
Fair. Because you hate hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Fact.
It's just like exhausting and no, I'm just kidding.
Fucking dicks.
It's just that I don't have people over a lot, and it's just like
Yeah.
when I get into a game, I get into the game. Like I
Well,
want to
well,
play
do we
all
need-
the time.
I'll solve that. I'll invite you guys over. You won't need to buy it. You can just
Right.
fucking
Okay.
do
So
it.
we all gonna play without
Yes,
Chris.
then I'm down to do that. But like if there's no online or actually, so if it has online multiplayer, I'm down. But
Okay.
if
Yeah,
it doesn't,
actually,
We don't know that actually.
haven't
We don't
released that
know.
yet?
Yeah, we don't know.
so like
I'm kind of on par with that.
Yeah.
Smash
If they don't
Brothers,
have
like
online
I'm
multiplayer.
all
So it's
about
on
it.
tough,
It's
yeah.
got
Okay.
online multiplayer. I can
Well,
play
then
with
why
my
would I
cousin
buy
all
it
the
though,
time
you
and
know?
like
Yeah.
you guys all the
Yeah.
time.
Hell yeah.
Great.
Fine.
But then something like fuck, it was just in my head. Overcooked.
Oh, okay.
There's no online
Yeah.
co-op. It's only couch co-op, and that's
Yeah.
the only reason I haven't bought that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Is because only couch
That
co-op.
game was a
Same thing
relationship
with
breaker.
Is it?
yeah.
Yes, I can tell you firsthand.
Don't worry, he salvaged it.
We almost broke up because of that game. Ridiculous.
Wedding canceled.
Unravel
Okay.
2, no online co-op. That's
Yeah.
only couch co-op.
Yeah.
Co-op.
It's becoming more of a trend going back to that.
Why?
I feel like.
Right.
Like,
Which-
why does Cuphead do that?
They need both.
I think
it needs
it's
to be the support of both.
just like games like that. Well, especially with an indie game, it's like, do we want to manage servers?
Fair.
Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's a whole separate, huge investment, and it's just like, let's just
What?
make a couch co-op.
But when it's a
What if
game,
we don't do
A
that?
Way Out was good though
But
because
that's-
it blended both. You could do
Yeah.
both of them.
That's
But-
awesome. You know,
but that's
I want
what's
things
so
like that.
weird is that when you have a game like Unraveled or a game like A Way Out, for them to only push that, I feel like it's just saying, hey, our agenda is that we want to focus on local multiplayer. But then when you have the backing of someone like EA, you know, to me that's saying you have the funding to fix those issues of like how do you deal with the expansion of online multiplayer servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So it's weird to me that they just would say, no, we're cutting that out. We're only doing local
Sounds
multiplayer.
like Sierra's home.
A Way Out not only did that, but they also let you download the game if you didn't have the game.
Yeah,
So, like, one
which was
person needed to
fucking
buy
awesome.
the game.
Yeah,
which was
that's-
great.
so
I didn't
cool.
need to buy it.
And it was
You're welcome. You're welcome.
it
Business
sold,
model.
it
Appreciate
sold
that.
really well.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
for a game like that to be in like the top 10 NPDs like the week it came out was
Yeah.
a
That's
big
huge.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry if anybody can hear the background. People got home. So where was that? Super Smash.
That's number two.
Number two.
Number
Yeah.
two. Number three.
Number 3, Cyberpunk. I think. I would say not Cyberpunk because I still don't have a lot of information about it, and I would love to see the Let's Plays.
That's the only reason why
it's
not my 3 yet,
but
it's like, you don't know. But.
I want to make a notable mention of Control, though, that came out in the Sony conference.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Because that, I don't know, maybe it's the Jedi Force power type thing that resonates with me.
Same developers as
Infamous.
Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and Max Payne.
Oh, okay. Because I got kind of like Infamous vibes from it.
Yeah,
is what I was thinking.
Agreed.
Where's the Alan Wake sequel at?
I don't know.
Every year I'm sitting here. I'm like, when's the Alan Wake sequel?
So I'm excited.
It's a new Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm just telling you.
It really
don't
is.
say that.
Waiting forever.
For the missing, because you're talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 7. I mean, I'm a giant Final Fantasy 7 fanboy, and the moment they announced that, I don't even know how many years ago now.
It's hard when
at
you
this
put
point.
I watched the did you guys ever watch that video I sent to the group chat of Easy Allies or game trailers reacting to Final Fantasy 7 announcement?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Restless.
It's like the greatest E3 reaction ever. But
Yeah.
like I watched that this morning as well. So
in addition to
I'll
2016
watch that.
E3, the best conference
listen,
there was.
sometimes YouTube is on point with what they recommend that I watch. I'm like, yeah, I want to watch that.
You're right.
I've watched it before. And
You're
I
right.
guess
I want
forgot
to watch
'cause I
these
cleared
street
my
videos
browser
of people fighting.
But I'll watch it again.
Thank you.
Favorite conference?
Sony. I thought it was a ballsy move what they did with the intro church thing. I think the music things were a little off and whatever, and the transition was awkward. But the fact that they opened it up in the church with the lighting and then went into The Last of Us was amazing. And the fact that, I mean, they had Last of Us 2, they had Spider-Man, they had Control that they talked about. It was just
RE2
Ghost of
remake.
Tsushima. It was just, I don't know. I was the most excited for that conference. Microsoft is a very close second. I will give Microsoft that. I didn't think in years I would be talking about Microsoft being on my level of like Sony fanboyish.
Right.
But yeah, Microsoft did a fucking great job. Bethesda did a great job. Fallout 76 is close on that list. I'm going to be playing the shit out of that, but it's more of I'm cautious on that one as far as I'm gonna play it. I'm not expecting, this big revelation, game breaking thing, but I'm gonna play the hell out of it.
Yeah.
What was missing for you?
So Final Fantasy anything
7.
else?
No, I don't think so. The Super Smash Bros. Release date, I was disappointed because I thought for sure it would be fall.
Yeah.
But I mean, December. I'll take December. So
Cool.
Well, we've been streaming for about 3 hours and 20 minutes.
God,
I was promised a pizza an hour in.
I said no such thing.
Never happens.
So do we want to...
Why did you do that to me, Chris?
I thought with mine.
Chris promised.
I said because Jordan's like, hey, like what time are we hanging out to? I said probably like 4 at the latest. Like I think we'll podcast for an hour and then like I don't know, order pizza or like play video games or some shit.
Pizza. I was like, fuck yeah, we'll get a
I
pizza.
was way off. Although when we did say an hour, I thought no way.
There's no way.
And then after we talked about the first game, I was like, oh, we're
Yep.
I thought the same thing. Halfway into E3 or into EA, I was like, God dang it.
yeah.
So many conferences to go.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well, do we want to pause it? Resume EA or Sony, Nintendo at another point?
We could breeze through Nintendo.
Just breeze through it.
Mario Party. We just talked about it.
Yep.
Super Mario Party. Cool. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. No one here gives a shit about that.
Throw it out.
If anyone would, it would be me, and the combat in that game is fucking awful.
He's not wrong.
Chris is
Trash.
going to talk by himself about Fire Emblem.
Yeah, Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I've been waiting to see more of this game. They showed it at E3 last year. I absolutely love Fire Emblem. I did not play the last one on 3DS because they split it into 3 separate games like a Pokemon style thing.
Yeah.
I do not like that business practice, so I did not buy it. This one I'm excited for, but graphically, it looks rough. And when they zoom into like your character walking around town in the castles, looks rough. It is not it's not going to be like this. Looks like the GameCube game,
Right.
I love the 2 GameCube Fire Emblems, or I'm sorry, one was GameCube, one was Wii. All the others are handheld. This does not. It looks like the GameCube and the Wii versions, but they did show some interesting changes to the gameplay, like formations. Once you enter combat from like the sky view, it shows like the rest of the armies fighting around you, which was nice. But still, overall, I was just like, the game is fucking ugly, but I'm sure.
Oh, we're gonna go that far.
I'm sure it'll be fun. Here, I'll play the trailer so you guys can just look at how ugly it is.
We synced it.
Hold on. As I continue talking about the other stuff that Nintendo showed, which was
Fortnite coming on Switch,
Don't
available
give a
now.
shit.
I actually might play Fortnite now. I've been staying off against it, but it's on the Switch.
Boo! Boo this man! Boo! 2 titties way down.
I want to beat all the 12-year-olds.
okay. It looks a little prettier.
Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight.
Shadow Drop.
Shadow Drop is awesome. I still want to play Hollow Knight. I think it is a great fit for the Switch, but if I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna play it on PlayStation 4 because it's been out for PS4 for a while, and PS4 has trophies.
Yes.
And like, even if I don't go to platinum a game, I
Still
care
want
about
trophies.
getting the other trophies as I go along, and then like occasionally setting 1 or 2 extra goals for myself in a game before I move on.
Wasn't there talk of Nintendo doing a trophy system at all?
There's been rumors forever.
And there was no talk of that at E3.
Release
was
of Switch, they talked about it, and then it was like...
I thought it was going to happen. I thought they were talking about it post-launch, that they were working on it.
Well,
and I thought something might happen here, but it didn't.
When it comes up, it's because it's during interviews, and it's them, all their typical response is like, we hear you. I can't say anything now, but we hear you, which is exactly what they said with the Virtual Console.
Oh no!
So
We got a puppy attack.
oh boy.
Okay.
And now a word from our sponsors.
But yeah, so you can see it looks kind of
Trash.
crap.
Smash Brothers,
Like that looks
25-minute
ugly
video.
as shit.
Where Yoshi at?
Smash
He's
Brothers.
right there.
No, not in Smash Brothers. I'm talking about the game.
The only thing I want to say about Smash Brothers is that
The
I agree
Yoshi
with a lot of
game.
stuff you guys echoed. Is that they could have taken like the 20? I think it was like 20-something minutes, right? They talked about Smash or
25.
30 minutes. 25, yeah.
Yeah.
They could have taken all of that and honestly either made a separate live stream just to talk about the game,
Which they
that.
do after
Right.
their video with Nintendo
I feel
Treehouse.
like if you're trying to get people excited about this game, you need to give me a high level view. You don't need to give me this super in depth about how every character is changing or how it makes. They're basically, to me, it felt like they were trying to justify why they're bringing these characters back.
Well,
they were showing that video was for hardcore Super Smash Brothers fans instead of
The
the
fight
gamer in
mechanics and
general.
stuff.
Yeah, it was super in depth. Like,
I
hey,
think-
did you know now air dodging is a little bit different?
Yeah.
Slightly different,
Yeah.
where you can kind of slide on the ground a little bit.
Yeah, we changed the way
To-
that
again-
power shielding works, and it's like I
Again, to
barely
me,
even
a
fucking power shield.
separate Nintendo
What's a
Direct.
power shield?
Show me a trailer. I'm gonna be excited. You're gonna say we're bringing everybody in this freaking game that ever existed, and I actually think there's
Except
probably
for
still
Luigi.
some more that they haven't announced that I think they'll probably announce closer to the release of the game.
Showing Snake again is awesome.
Snake.
like, and
What
when
is that? 10
Cloud.
10 years since the last time Snake was
All
in a
the
Smash
Smash
game?
Club.
yeah, so
Something like that.
the
It's
fact that
absolutely
they
insane.
brought all those characters back, especially the third-party ones where licensing issues can pop up because it's a new game, the fact that all those other companies were like, yep, we're still on board, keep them there, and even with the whole thing with Kojima and Konami, like, people thought that we wouldn't get Snake back, but now we got Snake back.
They did
So-
elaborate afterwards that is not like a small feat. Like bringing everybody else was a huge
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people maybe initially thought like took for granted. Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
fuck,
in the
you already
past
had
games,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
No,
the
they
internet,
don't-
John.
well,
we don't care about these kinds
They
of
have
things.
Make it happen.
from Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo, Legend of the Seven Stars. You've got Gino and
Love that
Mallow
game.
because it was developed by Square. Like Nintendo does not have the license for Gino and Mallow, so it has always been a pain in their ass to try and get those characters to do anything. even though fans beg for it. Like, so in the last in Smash 4, there's a Mii costume for Geno. You can't play as Geno, but there's a costume you could put on your Mii that makes him look like Geno.
Oh,
and
shit.
then
Why not?
and then they're in Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, I think. During a mini game, there's like a little doll of Geno. And just because of that, in the credits, they have to mention Square Enix and their rights to Geno.
Wow.
So, like...
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's definitely not an easy thing to do, and that's like a fucking Nintendo game.
Let's
They
talk
can't
about-
even get their own characters in their games.
Let's talk about, hands down, the best character announcement out of all of them, though, and that's the return of Wii Fitness Trainer to the lineup.
With the
With the
updated face.
yeah.
Even though I was hesitant to do it.
I love that they actually took the time to point out that it has an updated
Oh
face.
my God.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. So yeah, way too much detail there. Happy they're bringing all the characters back, even though like no one gives a shit about Pichu because it is inferior in like every way to
True.
Pikachu. Like it's kind of weird to have Toon Link and Young Link.
Yeah. Agreed.
But Breath of the Wild Link is different, so that's nice. I think those kinds of changes were good to highlight. Like,
Yes.
hey, this Link is from the newest game, and we know the newest game has different mechanics, so here's some things we changed about that character.
Yeah.
But, like, hey, did you know Ike has his costume from his original game, and his voice sounds a little bit different? Did you know Bayonetta's sound effects for her guns are different depending on what costume you change? It's like, those are neat. I don't need them in that E3
This
press
is, again, the
conference.
kind of stuff that you let a YouTuber or a fan of the game highlight for you.
And now we've been talking about it as long as the actual thing.
Yes.
Okay, final thing, Ridley. Right? Like,
Cool trailer.
this was...
Cool trailer.
Dark trailer.
A very dark
I was
trailer.
impressed.
People wanted more representation
Chewing
from Metroid because it's a huge Nintendo franchise.
Yeah.
The only characters you could really bring are Ridley and Dark Samus.
Not really.
They gave us Zero Suit Samus, which was cool. Like, oh, okay, we didn't think of that. So people have been begging for Ridley. Sakurai himself said Ridley is too big. So everyone said, it's confirmed he will never be in the game.
Yeah.
And then the next game, we wonder, is he going to show up?
Yeah.
And then he shows up as a boss fight in Smash 4 or whatever.
The Wii U one.
Yeah. So...
Now he hits the big time, which I thought was a nice
Yes,
reference.
exactly. And one of the coolest reveal trailers for a character, he fucking impales Mario
Seriously.
and Mega Man
Rip.
with his tail,
Fucking
Rip.
dark.
and then shows up and just...
I'm not even sure how they even allowed that,
Dude,
that meeting.
yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that where he's sitting there going,
We're
"We're
gonna
gonna
kill
kill Mario."
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Exactly. So that made me happy. I also love that Peach gets an Echo Fighter, which they're calling the clones now, Daisy, because Peach was my character in Melee, and she's changed a lot.
Really?
Peach is like one of the best characters in Super Smash Bros. Melee. The top player
That's true.
for
You see a lot of
competitive
those-
Melee is a Peach player.
Yeah, you see a lot of those competitive people play
Still
Peach.
judging.
My handle on GameFAQs.com
Oh, God,
is
yeah.
Peach Kid, because when
Like my
I
peaches.
won a local tournament,
GameFAQs.com.
when I won $100 at that tournament,
Big money.
it was $100 like store credit, but
I
still,
played some kids in an alley once as Peach.
they would hold tournaments every month, and I would play as Fox, and I kept losing. I would get far and lose.
I fucking love Fox.
Finally switched to Peach, and I won 2 tournaments in a row
Oh, shit.
at that place. And
That's
then
awesome.
they got shut down for like, I don't know,
You know,
modding
cheating,
Xboxes
child gambling,
and like selling drugs.
children gambling.
Yeah.
I did
So,
say this.
anyways, like after I won the first tournament, Peach at the time was not a character people thought was great. So I won the tournament, and I'm like waiting for them to hand me the store credit, and like 2 kids walk by, and they go like, "Yo, is that the Peach Kid?" And I was like, "Boom, that's my online handle
Hashtag
right
the
now,
Peach Kid.
Peach Kid." So, anyways,
Bringing that back. Tales of Nerdy.
bringing it back.
Done.
Now we got a
Peach
second
Kid.
version of Peach. We got Daisy as an Echo Fighter, so that's our second brand new fighter that we got.
Nothing for.
Happy about that. And we got Pokemon Trainer back, which is dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Squirtle, Ivysaur,
Charizard.
and Charizard, and yeah, it's not Bulbasaur, it's Ivysaur. Yeah.
Ivysaur.
So, and the problem with that character in Brawl was that the Pokemon get weaker the longer you have them out, and like they lose stamina or whatever. So you had to switch them out all the time. So that's why next game it's just Charizard. It's like, all right, people mostly care about Charizard. He's his own character now. Now they're bringing it back, and there's no stamina thing.
Yeah, it's just whichever one you want.
You
This
can
character
swap
has
to them, I think.
3 characters with no drawback, which is insane. So, anyways, Smash Brothers, super hyped for it. I like the name, Smash Brothers Ultimate. I'm down with that.
We've talked about it as long as
Breeze through Nintendo, I think. Breeze through Nintendo was the phrase that I think.
How about this? I'll help. Splatoon 2 Octo expansion.
I don't care about Splatoon single player.
Perfect.
I
Sony.
loved the multiplayer, had a great time. But I probably won't ever play it again.
Sony.
Can we just say, what didn't we talk about Sony that we've already talked about?
Last of Us 2, as much as I love this game and excited for it, I think we have covered pretty well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Skip.
Brutal.
I'm more excited
But
for it than
emotionally
I thought
brutal.
I would be. Because of my feelings about Last of Us 1 being like a great game, but not, like the godsend a lot of people explain it to be. Like, this one looks like it could be that for me.
I will say that any doubt that I had in my mind, when you make a game as perfect as The Last of Us, making even remotely the idea of a sequel in Sony Capcom, I'm like, there's no way they can even remotely touch what the first game did even on an emotional level, let alone from a gameplay perspective. And then I see that, and I'm just like, oh boy, we're in for a ride.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Beautiful.
Dion's falling out of work. Dion's falling out of work.
However,
Cherry blossoms everywhere.
I'm a little worried about the combat.
That's fair.
Looks a little stiff.
I think it's too early to tell.
You could see the characters like snapping into place
Yeah.
of where they should be like standing to do like a move or something, which was like a little weird for me. But it's a long ways off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like I need to
super
wait
worried
until
about it.
I need to see a little bit more to see.
Yeah, I'm going to be the guy that
Yeah.
I wasn't... Visually, yes, I was impressed with, but the overall idea and mechanics from what I saw, I was like...
I mean, I will say it's really hard to tell from that because, like I said, when you remove the UI layer and you're just looking at the gameplay, it's hard. It's impossible to tell what are the real mechanics when you're actually fighting, right?
Yeah.
So we
Like
just
when
have to
he
give it
just
time. Yeah.
encountered those 3 people,
just
and
did
the
the
first guy
first-
just cut him open. I was
Right.
like, oh,
Yeah, was that like a...
We're not seeing
Like,
like
can
the
you do that
UI to see
often,
like
or-
how is that actually happening and how is he moving between those targets? We don't
Yeah.
know. So
Control.
Control.
The
I have no idea what I saw. I thought
Exactly.
it
Doesn't
was incredible.
matter.
The music was incredible for that trailer.
yeah.
I'm excited. I want to see more. Show me gameplay.
Resident Evil 2, Chris's Nightmares. The end.
Yeah. No thanks.
I
Great
just wanna-
trailer though.
I want to give a shout out to that trailer because the first person of the rat,
Yep.
you're like, you have no idea what this game could possibly be about. I actually thought it was a VR game at first.
But
That was
then
my initial guess.
They showed an original PlayStation.
Yeah.
So the only reason I knew what it was at that point was because the Easy Allies, and I was watching their live
Right.
reactions. One of them like said, "Oh shit, is this Resident Evil?" And like I was like, "Oh shit, he's right."
So the moment I knew was when they finally pan out from the rat and you see it's Red Eye, and I was like, it's Ari.
That's when it was confirmed. And you're like, "Oh
Yeah.
fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super excited. That's it.
Kingdom Hearts 3 Pirates of the Caribbean World.
Skip it.
If I don't get to play as Jack Sparrow in that game, I'm done.
Okay.
We're still playing as always.
Let's try and keep this brief. Death Stranding.
I already said it.
Yeah.
Why? What
Beautiful looking game. Don't know what the fuck.
I'm
is
going to
happening.
play it, still won't know.
I think this confirmed though that it probably won't be a game for me, just because
Okay.
I'm not really big on Metal Gear Solid. Like, I understand the hype of Kojima, and
Yeah.
over the past year or two, I have got caught up in that hype of Kojima just being this god.
Did you play 5?
Of games? No.
Do you want to borrow it because it's fucking entertaining?
A lot different than like the previous ones, I'm guessing.
He
Yes.
didn't like stealth though.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate stuff.
You don't need to do stealth. I get that's geared towards stealth, but you don't need to do stealth.
Is it Metal Gear towards stealth?
That's what the game.
It encourages
That's
stealth.
what the game is
It
about.
encourages stealth.
Actually, I think I have. Wasn't 5 free on PlayStation Plus at one point? I think
No,
it might
I
have
think
been.
it was there was Metal Gear 5.
The
Ground Zeroes?
stories.
Yeah, Ground Zeroes, but
Oh.
that's different. That's a prelude to
Okay.
Phantom Pain.
I think what I got from that
I
trailer.
don't want to take it from your house. I don't want to take it from you today, just because like still playing
That's right.
Dark Souls. 2 days from now, Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong DLC. I got a list of games.
He's booked. His schedule's full.
It's fair.
July
It's fair.
13th, Captain Toad,
Mario
Treasure
Aces.
Tracker.
Yeah.
No, we're playing Mario Races at your house. We're not buying it.
Yeah, we're playing that like right after this. Neo 2.
Deuces.
I bought the first one. I probably played about 20 hours of it. Found it extremely difficult, and it was really hard for me to get into it. I thought the storyline of it was cool. I mean, it makes sense for why they would make a sequel, because I know it sold really well for them.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I don't like renting games, but this might be a game I rent because the difficult games I do get frustrated and then we'll play.
Yeah, I get really,
Yeah.
really frustrated with them. So
I support that.
Because I'm soft. Ooh, what was that?
you know.
Someone did. Okay. Spider-Man. Are we
I
all
mean,
getting it?
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Day one. Day one. for
Web
sure.
on your face. Web on all your faces. Web yourselves. Eat these
are
nuts.
you doing a Jack Black? What
This is-
I don't have a connection really to Spider-Man. I
Me
watched
neither.
the cartoon.
Yeah.
Never read any comics. Like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone,
my
a
favorite
lot of people
superheroes.
excited because it's Spider-Man and it looks like a good game. And the last one, I guess people had was Spider-Man 2 on like PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I got that
I just really wasn't interested in this game until I
just
saw
like
it.
seeing
Well,
the
I
combat
was
stuff.
because Insomniac. And now it's like, now Insomniac showed me what they did with it, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
And last but well, this says not least, probably least. Deracine.
This is the
Deracine.
other From Software
From Software
game.
game.
So we already talked about it a little
Yeah.
bit, but
I didn't
Yeah,
even
I don't-
watch the trailer a second
Yeah.
time.
It made no sense.
I'm just kind of like,
It was very
we'll see,
like.
we'll see what people say when it comes out, but
Yeah.
like the fact that FromSoft is connected, like, okay, like
I think.
I'm
if
interested.
it comes to Vive, I might check it out.
I think
the fact
this
that
might.
they're doing exclusives
Yeah.
is still fucking killing me.
I think this will be a
is
PlayStation
being a
exclusive
dick
for
about that.
VR. I really do, and I think that if it does come out to the Vive, it'll be like at least a year or so later.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like.
But we don't know anything about this game. We literally
sure.
see what is like. If I remember
Confusing
correctly,
as
it's
shit.
just like it's a hallway in black and white with a little bit of noise on it, and you're like, I have no idea what this is.
Some music,
I'll
there's
say
like a
one thing
girl.
about it though. I watched
There's
this
a
guy on
mansion.
YouTube. His name is Epic Name Bro. He is he did like a playthrough of Dark Souls. He lived in Japan for a while when Dark Souls was getting big, and his Bloodborne playthrough. Like, I love that playthrough. It goes through so much lore. It helped me find a bunch of hidden areas. I would basically watch it after I played a certain part in Bloodborne. Then I'd go back and watch how he did it.
Gotcha.
And he's like the Souls guy, right? Him and Vadi Vidya is another YouTuber who goes into lore. He did so much with Dark Souls 1 on YouTube, and he does writing and other things, but like he was part of making the guide in Dark Souls 2. He
Oh, really?
also was a big part of making the official guide for Bloodborne, which is how he knows so much of the lore. He's met Miyazaki, he's had dinner with Miyazaki. He said on Twitch and on YouTube and Twitter and stuff that like this is the game Miyazaki really wanted to make. I see what you're doing there. Trying to cut me off.
I
Don't
didn't
ever
do
cut
shit.
him off by looking at that time.
I didn't do shit.
God dang, why is
I was-
Chris still talking?
I was getting a phone call, bro.
Oh, okay. You
Why you
looked at
watch-
it twice, so I was like, he's
Why you
trying to tell
watch
me to
this,
finish up.
Why watch
The
this,
point
Mom?
I was getting at was that like this is a passion project
Right.
from, I think his last name is Miyazaki, from Software. So
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm just hoping PlayStation doesn't fuck over Vive and Rift as far as like Resident
Yeah.
Evil 7. That was, PlayStation VR exclusive, and then a year passed, and then even though it was the number one selling PSVR game, they didn't remake it for Vive or Rift, and it's just like everybody's still waiting, like what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm hoping the companies have learned from that mistake, or at least don't limit it to that, but we'll see. So,
We did it.
we did it.